Yeah.
I know he is. He's doing shit though. He's cooking supper and doing family time. But no, so that's the thing is Puerto Rico, like same with Alaska in the First World War, James. Like, you know about that whole thing with the salmon, right?
You talking about the Food Administration stuff?
Well, like in the First World War, like the U.S. military didn't have any kind of field stable ration, right?
Oh no, I got a whole bookshelf here on that subject.
Right. And so
the Food Administration shit.
Long story short, Alaska was a territory at that point, of course.
Right.
And they wanted to contribute to the war effort. And they were like, well, how the hell can we contribute? Oh, we catch a fuckload of salmon. We'll can this stuff and send it over to France to our troops. So the guys in France were getting massive amounts of canned salmon. And at first they're like, oh, this is kind of weird. This is interesting. Like, okay, let's try to cook it. And they got so sick of it. A lot of World War I vets, it's an anecdote, of course. It's many different stories. They're like, I can't eat salmon ever again because they had so much of it. Because I think they shipped like 14 million pounds of that shit in the first like year. And then they kept upping it was something insane. And they all got canned salmon.
Yeah, the big thing is like there's that, but there's also like the home side. They decided, why don't we start eating whales and dolphins? And that'll get the United States to stop eating so much beef so we can send it overseas. And so
that's a good idea.
They even did like a presidential dinner of whale to like get people behind it. You should have seen the librarian. Because I was known for like getting in the weird shit when I was writing my projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember going up there to pick up this book, and she's like, "I knew it was you because of the topic." And it was like dolphins and porpoises for consumption. And she's like, why are you getting this? I was like, I don't know. I'm bored.
Are there photos of this? I want to see what that.
I got like a whole file on this shit.
Good.
I actually started writing a book on it. I called and I went through like 20 or so Food Administration recipe books, and I collected like 100 that I thought were pretty interesting, and I wrote them out. So like there was 25 meat substitutes, 25 wheat substitutes, 25 potatoes, and 25 desserts. And so I was going to call it A Taste of the First World War, so you could like read the history of the Food Administration and then do the recipes. But I only ever got I finished the first half of the book, and I just haven't finished the second half of the book.
So it's in the making, but it is going to happen. Okay.
Oh yeah. My issue is on my computer. There's like 7 folders that I labeled into book projects, and they're all books that I wrote halfway and then stopped because I got distracted by another project.
You hit that wall where you want to do something else.
Yeah. So it's there. I just got to finish it.
Dude, this makes me want to get my buddy Ray on here because he's one I was telling you about this. Like for World War I, we do 32nd, of course, because we're from Wisconsin. But like he's got an entire field kitchen. Like an entire, and he's got those books that they issued the cooks, the mess sergeants, and the cooks.
No, I'm not talking but the Army side is interesting. I've been done the civilian side because that's even weirder.
But there's crossover too.
That's is. The thing. Yeah. But the issue is like one of the things like why does the South eat so much cornbread? It's because it wasn't a big deal as much, but the Food Administration pushed so hard to eat corn that cornbread became a staple during the war because send wheat over, right? So it's like a lot of these weird trends that people have. I've got a poster still wrapped. I bought it just before I took this job, but it's a Food Administration poster from Louisiana that's like eat more Louisiana cane sugar and syrup, right? It's like, why do we love maple syrup so much? The Food Administration argued it as a good substitute for sugar.
Yeah. Well,
I've got a good image that I was going to use, and I found a drawing of a potato drawn like a doughboy fighting in Europe. Hang on, let's see. I'll pull it up. I'll show you.
Oh, let me guess. You're gonna make some fucking snide comment and joke about. Yeah. There you. Yep. I knew.
No one said that. Hang on, you dumb fuck.
But Mike, you obviously probably
say that again.
You can see it coming. He's gonna make a joke. Potato, World War I uniform.
I know. I'm ready for all. I'm always ready for him. Anytime I sense it.
Okay, here. Let me share my screen, you little fat fucker.
A little fat. I think I'm bigger than you, but okay.
We know you're bigger than me. That's the obvious point here. All right.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
How the fuck do I share my screen on this shit?
Oh, okay, penis. All right, so now you need my help.
Oh my god.
Down to present in StreamYard, right? Present.
I don't.
And make sure it's the window.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you watch your fucking tone.
If I wanted to live from you, James, I'd peel off my fucking zipper. So. And he froze, of course. He fucking froze because he hit the wrong button, guaranteed.
He's not just fucking shocked by that.
He didn't even hear the fucking insult.
Oh, nope. There he is. Okay, now you're back.
What? You're just impervious. You're like a fucking duck. Everything just rolls off and fucking. I'm not gonna sit in words that.
All right, so let's see. What do y'all see? You see?
I see your file. Do you want
see my file? Yeah, these are all the books I started and then got bored halfway through. Okay. Taste of the First World War. All right, so you asked about the whale. I found this cartoon from it. You see it?
I see the thumbnail. Yeah.
God damn it! How do I?
Okay, so here's the thing, Jimmy.
Yeah, Dad.
Just relax. Take it back.
Oh wait.
You have to pull up the picture or whatever the fuck first, and then go into present, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's how SteamYard works.
So I'm going to remove that because I don't want any sensitive information getting leaked. And then you can, when you're ready, Jimmy, and you can click on the correct window that you want to share. We can do that. We can share it with the world.
Shut the fuck up. I don't know why I do these goddamn things with y'all.
There's a lot of sexual tension. Like, we haven't seen each other in person since last August, so
I know, and
there's a lot of sexual tension built up.
Yeah, well, that's because I got left alone in my foxhole.
Ooh.
You know what? You know what? I was over it at that point, and I know you were. I held my composure pretty well leading up to that point.
You say so. Do you see the whale?
No, I do, but I have to. Okay, there. Oh my fucking god! You, Jimmy, just
why are you undermining me?
I fucking literally just put the fucking thing. Mike, you saw that?
Yeah,
I put it on, and then he just whoop, that was
under. Him. You know what? I'm just gonna do entire screen. That'll be so much easier. All right, there.
God, all right. Don't touch a fucking thing, right?
Okay, press share.
You're not.
Okay, cool.
Whale of a male.
Right? So they're gay.
Yes. But you asked about the this is the booklet. Just to show I wasn't lying.
No,
1918. Whale and porpoises as food with 32 recipes.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Issue November 6, 1918.
Yeah. And then blah blah blah. But like, how about fresh whale? Roasted stuffed whale.
Good luck trying to get away with that today. Jesus
whale
Christ.
With rice, whale steak and casserole. Then you could go to canned whale meat pies, or you get to the porpoise steak, porpoise cutlets.
No good heavens, dear me.
Fillet of porpoise, corned porpoise. Yeah, it had some weird shit.
Get a hankering for some whale now, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Look. But anyway, I went through all these recipe books trying to find dumb ones. They got like recipes for possum in some of them.
Oof.
Okay, that's another book. What did I put in here? Oh. You never know. Oh, there it is.
Let potatoes fight.
Eat all the spuds you want. We'll beat with meat and wheat. Reduce the eat in wheat and meat and toot the toot and substitute.
Jesus Christ.
I like the little tater cartoon right there.
Throw away your frying pan, bake and boil all you can.
Now that's an Idaho spud right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird.
It's like the Apon waterhead like you've got going on. With that lovely in hiding it.
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The 8-pound waterhead that you got going on? The Idaho spud? Yeah.
Otherwise, these are all the other books I started and never got done.
Do you ever finish anything, James?
Not really.
He's finished a couple things.
Yeah, here's like an air raid warden journal where I collected all these photos of like people loving their
in the cage, yeah.
The Morrison cages, yeah. It's a journal to this guy He was an air raid warden at the very beginning. Or no, he was an air raid warden at the worst 2 weeks of the V1 attacks, and then he was a warden for the last 2 weeks of the V1 attacks.
Dude, go to sorry, can you
yeah,
I saw some stuff in there. What's image 141? Third on the right there.
Oh, it's a
a
village, yeah, that hit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in England, yeah.
Yeah. And he's an English air raid warden, and like there's the table instructions.
It's V1 damage, yeah.
Yeah. And he was very.
Oh fuck! I know that picture. Go back. Yeah, that one. I fucking know that picture from somewhere.
I've got an original. This is a cool one. This is like the group that was shooting down the V1s.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit! And aircraft crews, yeah.
Yeah, anti-aircraft. Letters about it. Someone was complaining about their insurance, and they're like, "Yeah, that's great, but like we're getting bombed, so shut the fuck up."
Do you have a photo of one of the actual V? I saw that one. Yeah, the V1 actually flying.
Oh yeah. It comes from a small thing. Yeah,
that's intense.
Yeah, and then like I said, his journal, it's amazing, but he was very detailed about everything, and so he wrote every detail that you can think of. He even made his own little drawings of the V1.
I love going through like old original notes and trying to fucking read their handwriting. You know, it looks like the Declaration of Independence.
That's why I practice all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's his drawing. Anyway, like I wrote all of it. I transcribed the whole thing. So how many pages did I end up transcribing? I don't know. However much this is.
It looks like about 50 pages.
50 pages. Yeah, 50 pages. But I never finished it. Kelly, Lagaco, you never know. I got all sorts of shit, man.
I got shit forever.
Well, do you have DragonMan's Vietnam?
I was about to say, can we get to the feature presentation?
So Jimmy, how well versed are you about the Vietnam War in general, like micro level shit versus macro?
I mean, macro level, I got it enough to teach it in class at the college level, but micro level, not so much. I know bits and pieces and areas, and I mean, obviously with Dawn and a lot of that stuff, I know on a micro level now, but for the most part, most of my research was environmental history on the Vietnam War. So I could tell you all about the effects of Agent Orange and other issues on the landscape and natural phenomena of Vietnam and dogs. I know a lot about dogs in Vietnam, but that's it.
Interesting. All right. And Mike, your knowledge is like,
I'm pretty surface level. Yeah.
Yep. That's fine because like not everybody can know everything about everything. So
right.
All right. So
I mostly focus on the Second World War.
I'm turning on my fan.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And we have not seen this.
Good morning.
No, I've not watched any of his stuff.
We haven't watched this.
All right. Fuck. Okay, this is full screen, I guess. All right.
So, I mean, I imagine this is going to be a lot of you, Mike, because you're going to know all the.
No, it's shit. Jimmy too, and you also, because
the
thing is, he's so fucking dumb and bad that even somebody who doesn't know like anything past surface level shit will be able to be like, that's not right.
Yeah. Well, in that case, this first frame right here, what do we see that we want to comment on?
I mean, let's just go from the display perspective again.
Yep.
What's the point of uniforms that might actually have a story covered in plastic?
Yep.
And again, no wording, no labels, nothing but it's like it's the old way of doing things. Here's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what I have.
It's like the what do you call it? The like my wall of wonders. We're just come look at things. You're not gonna know what it is, but I have a lot of it.
And a billion American flags.
And a billion American flags.
Yeah. So this is, immediately like, I can even tell, like, this is just some dude that's like, oh, look what I have. Look what I have. Come in here. Make me feel good. Yeah, yeah. All right. So here we go.
Good morning, guys. DragonMan here. I'm in the Colorado Springs Military Museum. This is where I spend a lot of time, especially after work, fixing up the place, straightening things out, putting new things in the show cabinets. And I want to show you my Vietnam era display and some of the Vietnam era.
Really quick, he says era.
Okay.
So
I don't like the era terminology. It's dangerous to the idea, and it's like I've run into them before, not taken away from them, but you know, they all got their hats. So you'll find like Korean War and like awesome, you can talk to them, but then you'll find guys that wear like Korea veteran, and then you ask them like, what were you in Korea? He's like, yeah, I was in Korea from 54 to 55. It's like, okay. Was that where they have a hat? You know,
in one of the episodes I'm be releasing later, Don and I went over that extensively, and because with the Vietnam era veterans, coming out of the woodwork after 9/11, and we talked about that. And Don he's a very real dude. He's not a total asshole, but he says that shit like that just rubs him the fucking wrong way, and he gets in a bad mood. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I totally fucking get it.
I think they're in the middle, like, because it's like both. It's do you consider them the same as like combat veterans? No, but this is anyone, hell, with you, Mike. Do you consider the guys that got assigned to Iraq? Like, what do you feel about the guys that got assigned to a post in the States and never deployed? They deployed at or they're serving the same time you are, and they're involved in all of it culturally, etc. How do you feel about not to say yours is somehow heightened compared to their service?
No, it's not. It's not. Here's the thing: is like and Don and I did talk about this, and I've talked about this before in live streams and just videos in general. I'm an Iraq war veteran. I got combat pay. I was, I had a lot of indirect fire and shit like that, and bad things that went down when I was there. Okay, cool. Somebody who was stateside while I was in Iraq and never ever deployed to a combat zone, I don't look down on unless they start bloviating about their military shit.
Okay, and that's fair. I know that's how Don thinks too. Is like, yeah, thank you for your service. You served too, but like once they're like, oh, I served in the Vietnam War. Oh, where were you? Tallahassee. Like,
yep.
Okay.
That's the thing is like, so when I see somebody rolling around, because I have vanity plates, I have Iraq war vet plates, right, on my car. Whatever. I'm not a bro vet, but like I do take pride somewhat. That's part of my life. Cool. But when I see somebody with a GWAT or an NDSM or a Global War on Terrorism medal or National Defense Service medal license plate, I go, you're the one to go to Applebee's on Veterans Day at 5 different locations to get a free meal because you were in the military, you never deployed. And
it's a hard thing to do, I will say, from like my perspective at the museum level, is I never want to like say anyone's service is lesser, but it's really difficult to do an exhibit on like Cold War veterans because like maybe we get a collection and like, what was his service? And it was like he served 2 years in Germany from 1963 to 1964. Like, he still was served. He's a veteran, but he's not a combat veteran, and it's not possible for me to do an exhibit on that.
Correct.
And so it's like it's stuck in the middle. So to do the Vietnam War era, or like to say it, if it were me personally, I would do that. But then I would have like, this guy was serving on the base where they were creating Agent Orange in Mississippi. Like, these are not Vietnam vets, but their stories have a purpose for the overall narrative. Or this guy was doing the very first rounds of PTSD therapy for veterans in the Vietnam War. And he, whatever, you have to find a way to do it. But if you just like, this is the Vietnam War era, you are really limiting your ability to tell a story because there's too much to tell with that.
Well, that's the thing is like, even today, like, Don and I were also hashing this out, is like, there were a lot of people in the military during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And less than 10% of the active military at that point were actually deployed to Vietnam.
Yeah. I mean, it's like my grandpa, he was in the reserves, right, during Vietnam. Obviously never deployed, never went to Vietnam, and he never talked about it, but he said that was just something they did of his generations. Like, we joined, I went into the reserves.
Yeah.
You know, I did my 4 years or whatever. And he's like, then I got out and became a cop. But like, he never talked about it because to him, it wasn't, he never like, I'm a veteran. Never once did I know he was a veteran until later in life. And even then it's like, veteran for him was in quotes. Cause again, he was in the reserves and didn't actually.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I've talked to a lot of people, like since I've been back, I got back, fucking 2010. So it's been a while. It's been 14 years, but like, when I was like in my early 20s and shit, I go to bars and shit and talk to people who, were trying to fake it. And it's like, why? What are you doing? Like,
no.
Oh, I was a water treatment specialist in the military. I'm like, cool. Where we at? Well, I never deployed. I don't care. What did you do? Let's have some funny stories. Let's shoot the shit. Like, I don't care.
It's not about the fucking heroics and shit.
No, it's not. Because like deploying is not heroic either. It fucking sucks. And it's like, I'm glad they didn't deploy. But like, anyway, it's like, here's the thing is we're in the military. It's the same job, right? And if you're just cool and we just sit there and talk shit about, mostly it's leadership being retarded. That's a very common thing. And we'll just shoot the shit, whatever, it's a job. And then we have fun and go on. But it's like the people that either just flat out lie about it and they've never been in, which is, I don't even pay attention to them. But the
what are you talking about? There were 1,500 Green Berets in Vietnam, and I've met 3,000 of
them. That's a common one.
I'd add a 0 onto that, but yeah. No, it's funny because I actually I lived next to a Green Beret who was in Vietnam. Like I saw his paperwork and everything, like it's legit. And he was a fucking prick. He's a piece of shit. He's dead now, which is good. You can't cancel him, unfortunately. But he was the biggest piece of shit, one of the biggest pieces of shit I've ever met in my fucking life. But he was legit.
Did he use his shit to be like to throw his weight around? Yeah.
Fuck yeah. That's all he had.
Yeah.
And he was just a miserable, manipulative son of a bitch. And it's like, yeah, I mean, just because you're a vet doesn't mean you're a good person.
Yeah.
That's another little thing.
I've run into that many times, and I know you have too.
Yep. And it's like, but here's the thing is like, that's why I really like talking to Don, and like, James knows all about that. And so do you, Mike. Like, it was cool because we just got to just break down all this shit, and we found a lot more similarities between Vietnam and Iraq and Afghanistan versus Vietnam and World War II vets could find common ground.
Right.
And we were just talking, we just get into this mode and yeah, he doesn't look down on people who never deployed to a combat zone either. As long as they just go, yeah, I did this and whatever. Oh, fucking right. Nice.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's cool. But there's people that you run across once in a while who were in the military. They went through basic, they got MOSQ'd, they were doing their job, but they bloviate and they say something that they're not. And you kind of like, you're able to tell there's like this vibe and this kind of like, yeah, it doesn't add up.
Right.
And when you call them out, they get pissed. And then I think I had 1 or 2 total, besides them just storming off, go, okay, I just feel really bad because I never got to go into combat. I'm like, don't feel bad. Like, you were in the military, you wore the uniform, like you did your thing. Why do you feel, well, there's a lot of you Iraq and Afghan vets getting back, and I just want to do my part. I'm like, get out of the military.
Yeah.
That's the best part you can play.
That is a high level of insecurity right there.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, but I've had good conversations with like super pogues, and it's fucking hilarious because they're smart people because they did a job that transfers over into the civilian world.
Right.
Which infantry, you get 8 Phi-Ed credits in college. Woo! But anyway, no, those people are cool. Like you can sit there and just talk. It's not a big deal, but there is this whole thing about like, what is a veteran?
Yeah.
And it goes with the era thing that DragonMan's talking about is like, if you were in during a time of conflict, yeah, you get the National Defense Service Medal. But I mean, really,
that's the joke that was on when they finally ended GWAT, right? It's like all the kids that enlisted December 28th, 2020, and then the kids that enlisted January 1st, 2021. It's like the GWAT ribbon for 2 days. Right.
Like, the GWAT. Yeah, it's because when I got out of basic in 2008, I got the fucking Gay Pride ribbon, aka the Army Service ribbon, the GWAT ribbon, and then the NDSM. So I had 3 fucking ribbons out of basic, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, What?
A lot of the Vietnam guys have all done the same for the national service. They're like, "What? We don't need that." I had one guy bring me his stuff into the museum just this week, and he's like, "My daughter requested my medals." He's like, "I don't know why the fuck she requested the national service,
National Defense Service medal."
Yeah, like, well, she's like, "I don't know why," and she's like, "Well, I just wanted his medals, but he said that they're pointless," and he's like, "Yeah, it was fucking pointless." It's like, all right,
dude. Again, I have fucking 6 or no. Okay, so I have 6 medals and 2 ribbons. Yeah. Out of all of those, the only one I value is the Iraq campaign medal. That's it.
Well, this guy, I mean, this one I was talking to, like, he was like, I had the greatest job in the military. I was a radio tech. I never once touched a fucking radio, and I never once repaired a thing, because he got selected for a secret mission with the CIA, sending spy balloons or weather balloons with spy equipment over the Soviet Union from Norway. And he's like, we were just there pretending who we were. And I was like, I don't know. I was a grunt. I just put the balloon on and sent it. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Yeah. He's like, 4 years I did that shit. It was awesome. I didn't do anything. And he's like, I didn't need those ribbons. And I'm like, that's a dope ass job you had. He's like, yeah, I guess. But like, what did I do? Nothing. Oh, yeah. I just ran around Europe.
Like, fucking had fun. And a lot of guys too that never deployed. They're like, I'm glad I never fucking deployed. I'm like, you're smart. They're like, yeah, I was in Germany crushing pussy and crushing beers and like fucking just living it up. They were like, you go into a bar and like, it's not a matter of like who you're gonna fuck. It's you got to pick which one because they're all just. I'm like,
I've heard that a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, they're like, no, I had a fucking great time. I'm glad I never fucking went, you know, and deployed. And I'm like, fucking more power to you. Absolutely, I agree.
It's so talking about medals and shit. Like, well, according to DragonMan here, every man that hit the beach should have got the Medal of Honor. You know,
that's why I said fuck you to him. Yeah, like he doesn't understand remotely.
Yeah, but it's interesting what people put value on when it comes to history and like the military and shit. I'm not gonna say this guy's name, but like, someone I've been recently doing some stuff for. He's like, he was talking to me through a Zoom call that we were talking. And he's like, I got the coolest thing that I'm selling to people. And I'm like, what? Because he had just got back from Normandy. And he's like, look at this. And he like, okay, I got this thing right here. I'm going to use this as an example. He's like, look, you know what this is? And it was this little glass bottle. I could see it had sand in it. And he's like, this is sand. Actual sand from Omaha Beach. And I'm just like, so what? He thought I was gonna think that was the coolest thing ever. I'm just like,
it's sand that wasn't there in June 6, 1944.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of downward drift, dude? Like, so, but yeah, no, I for some reason, like, I've had people send me Omaha Beach sand. People said, like, I can send you sand. I was like, I don't want fucking sand, dude. I don't give a shit about that. It's the history I'm interested in.
Right.
So yeah, it's just interesting, like, what people put value on, just material that doesn't mean anything.
All right, let's just fucking. Yep, I was just gonna do that.
Vehicles. So anyway, Vietnam was 1959 to 75.
Okay.
And let me tell you about some of the uniforms. This is a ghillie.
Now,
already we have to hit pause.
1959 to 1975. Like, is he gonna do an American shit? Because it's not 59.
Well, no. Okay, Jim. That's why I said okay. I'll let that pass. My personal, like, where I cut it off for the American involvement, like high speed involvement, is 59 to 75. If we're talking about Vietnam era, well, then we can go back to the fucking 19 teens.
Yes.
And before.
All right, fine, whatever.
American involvement. Would you agree though? 59
I mean, I wouldn't, because it's the same argument people do with like the Cold War. They're like, because where do you put the start date of the Cold War? And people will argue, 45 when the war ended, and that's when tension started with Russia. Yeah. I argue fully that it's 1949 because it's not a Cold War until they have a bomb. So 49 when the Russians test their first bomb. Now it's a Cold War. Yeah, but then I've seen others do it where like they started in 1957 with Sputnik. Like people push the date around on what they quantify as it. So if I'm saying we're talking about the Vietnam War with American involvement, yeah, we can have, advisors.
So what dates would you
65.
Would you say?
Like the date on put in combat units, that is an official declaration that we are in a war. Like, we've got advisors and people there but like we've got advisors and people everywhere at all times. So like, would you consider anyone helping the Ukraine right now, the start of the American involvement in the Ukrainian war?
The Ukraine?
Yeah. Do you count, like, as soon as we send one advisor to help them train, now the Americans are involved in the Ukraine war, like officially? Or would you count it like the day we're like, okay, we're in the war, we're sending troops?
I know exactly what you're saying, and the way I guess my brain quantifies this is foregoing all the fucking realpolitik that happened in the 50s with France and the US, okay, and Dien Bien Phu and all that shit, like Indochina in general, and after World War II, blah blah blah. We started sending advisors to South Vietnam for the purpose of quote unquote stopping the spread of communism in '59. So we are told.
Right. But you could also argue that anytime we sent an advisor anywhere was the start of us being involved in a war, even if we're not.
Yes. So that's the gray area.
Okay. Fine. We'll give it to him. We'll give it to him.
But that's why I said okay.
Era.
Not like a confident, like, okay, but that's kind of the guidelines I use when I talk about Vietnam.
I guess it's only in my mind, just from an education standpoint, that as soon as you don't, like, people like, you're nitpicking, as soon as you don't start nitpicking, then the history becomes confused.
Yeah.
No,
that's like, tell people the Vietnam War is 1959 completely fucks up the actual.
Well, he's also speaking with authority too. He's
right, and that's always been my issue, is people speaking with authority.
Correct.
Without actually having the authority.
When I say my personal opinion is that the U.S. involvement in Vietnam started really escalating in '59, I backed it up with things, and I go, but that's my opinion.
Right.
True. Right.
It's not
and
a fact.
Again, but it's the position of authority, which is the same thing when I dealt with Mastriano, right? It's the authority. Like, he had a PhD and he had a university press. That automatically gives him the authority, or at least people see it. This guy is running a museum, which automatically makes people think he has the authority to tell us the dates, to tell us the actual history. But if he's not giving you detailed facts, then he's just it's a mirage of authority.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, like, go ahead, Mike.
That's a whole, like, interesting level of psychosis right there, is that the people, why they do this stuff, but it's to get like this level of authority that they want. It has nothing to do with the history necessarily.
Well, and what I've noticed is, like, good historians who I've come to know, not talking about the guy that's in the bottom of this little stack of chat, but here's the thing is, like, they just go, here's what I've found, you make up your own mind. This is what I think, but I could be wrong, but I think I'm correct because of this.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like history is a science. You have to put out your argument so people can argue back, and then you figure out the consensus. But again, I think that's just my issue with this thing with him is once you've established that you are an authority, you're going to start screwing things up if you're not sticking.
Well, that's why I tell people on my videos, like when I'm talking about historical shit, I'm like, I could be wrong. Like, this is what I've researched. This is what I believe to be correct. But you go research and you let me know what you think, because I could be wrong. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's just like, I want to get it as correct as it possibly can be, so it's understood for generations the correct way. And by nitpicking, like you said, it's like, oh, you're just autistic, whatever. No, it's like, I care about details, and I care about getting details correct.
Yeah,
the details matter.
Yeah, they do.
They matter in everything. And I mean, especially after we've done the York shit, the details on even which direction did the bullet spin when it came out of a gun. That detail mattered in telling the story, right? The details.
That's the stupid little things that you have to look at. And so let's I'm just going to play this some more.
It's like forensics.
Please.
Exactly, it is. And it's just okay.
Outfit. See, that's the sniper water.
I can't even see what the fuck it is. It has plastic on it.
I hate the plastic.
Let's go back.
You only need to put plastic on things if you have an issue in your building. And if you have an issue in your building, you shouldn't be storing uniforms in said building.
Correct. Agreed. All right, listen to this shit. I'm about to fucking spot. We're not even 30 seconds into this bitch.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell you about some of the uniforms. This is a ghillie outfit. See, that's the sniper water.
No, they fucking didn't in Vietnam. That is a modern airsoft fucking like strand ghillie suit that you can buy from Sportsman's Guide or whatever fucking cheap Chinese fucking place sells it in the US. That is not a fucking Vietnam ghillie suit. A, it's too fucking hot. B, they traveled as light as. Read Carlos Hathcock's fucking memoir.
I don't think I've ever seen a photo or any kind of representation of a ghillie suit being used in Vietnam.
And also the whole term was sniper. Like, what's his name from the UK? He did a really good job on like kind of saying sniper versus a marksman. Now, a sniper, Carlos Hathcock was a sniper. Okay, there were a lot of snipers in Vietnam who kind of made up their own rules, stalking, getting a sense of the terrain, the functions of the enemy that they were watching for days on end at some point, just to get that one shot and then not be found and make it back. Okay, that's a sniper. They didn't wear this shit in Vietnam, especially. My God. Vietnam was a fucking hot, humid, sticky, wet, dangerous hellhole. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be wearing a modern airsoft ghillie suit? No, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
And he'd crawl around with his M14 with a scope on it. And
no, not an M14 with a scope on it. They used the M1Cs and Ds a lot early on, and then they started using hunting rifles, Winchester Model 70s and Remington Model 700s. And the Marine Corps adopted the I'm gonna get this wrong. One of them became the M40, and the Army adopted the Remington 700, and it became the model the M24. But in Vietnam, they were just literally sending hunting rifles to these snipers, and they would fucking use them. They would not be carrying a fucking M14 with a scope on it. He doesn't even know what kind of scope it is.
That's a later thing.
And all you Vietnam veterans out there, you definitely recognize this helmet.
Yeah, okay. So we've got the M1 helmet with a fucking Grenada era chin strap, right? Yep, Grenada era chin strap. Grenada era like Woodland M81 fucking helmet cover with a, I don't know, non-webbing band or some shit around there. Not a cat eye band. That's a Woodland helmet cover. That's like fucking late 80s, right before you were like the last reserve unit to get the fucking Pasget.
I'm gonna say it does not look Vietnam era to me, and I don't know the correct cover, but I it does not look right to me.
It's not, yeah.
Okay, and the really the only difference from the Vietnam era helmets and the World War II helmets is see the little hinge here. See, it's like
don't do
that on a hinge. That moves. That's Vietnam era. If it was welded and didn't move, that's World War II.
He literally sounded like a fucking 2-year-old teething.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, I mean,
World War II.
They had the swivel bales in World War II as well. So, I mean,
44, baby. Late 43. Yep.
So, no.
God, what a fucking idiot.
That's how you tell the difference right away.
That's how you tell the
difference.
So
anyway, here, come on in here. This is all stuff over the years I got from Vietnam veterans. The average Vietnam veteran now is around 70, 71 years old.
4 years ago. Okay. I'll give it that.
And who's this guy here?
I don't know. There's no fucking label.
I got drafted when I was 18 years old. I was on the M42 Dusters. We shot these 40 millimeter shells out of the M47 tank. It had double barrels. See, that's my tank crew. There's my name in the front, MEL.
Oh, my God.
Let's see. Here's a good picture of me. Okay, that's before and after. This is before. This is after.
Yeah,
you're still a retard.
Yeah.
Yep. We got drafted back then in the 60s. This is the letter you got in the mail. You just got inducted, and they tell you where to report. That's really what they should have never stopped, the draft. Because a few months in the Army, they straightened me right out.
I'm sure you were a piece of shit before and after, man. I already know it.
I'm not going to go on this fucking rant. Let's just keep.
And look at the kids now, how bad they are. You know, shooting up schools and everything.
And here we are talking shit about this guy.
Look at how bad the kids are now, shooting up schools.
Mm-hmm.
The Army really straightens out people. They really shouldn't have stopped the draft. That's the way I feel.
Hey, how many days do you serve in a fucking combat zone, you fucking stateside piece of shit, fucking pogue, fucking retard that worked on a fucking antiquated tank at that point?
Mm-hmm.
How many fucking days have you served in a fucking combat zone for your fucking parents, the government, mommy and daddy government, to make them more fucking money? How many fucking days have you served in an actual combat zone, you fucking fag? God damn, that fucking pisses me off. Oh, they should still have the draft going. Go fuck yourself, you fucking child.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Okay, over here. This is me on the 211 deuce and a half. See that?
Yeah, you look
over here. We got butterfly bombs. They used to drop out of the WWII helicopters.
Oh.
This is a captured North Vietnam.
No, it's not.
Captured flag.
Oh.
See, these are government captured papers. I got captured papers with Mosin Nagant's AK-47s. You swing.
Mosin Nagant's, where the fuck's the AK in this picture?
I don't know. Maybe he just mentioned it. It's not in the case.
Fucking.
So I see. What does that little thing say?
My blood's fucking boiling. Rifles captured in Vietnam by Americans with capture papers.
Okay. There's a blue Claymore training.
This was a hot gun in Vietnam, the M60 machine gun. It shoots a 308 bullet at a rate of 550 a minute. It was nicknamed the Pig because after carrying that around for about 14 hours a day, with all the ammunition wrapped around your neck, it really got heavy.
Oh, really? How many times did you fucking hump that bitch to Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia?
Mm-hmm.
Just really quick. Want to ask that question? You fucking fag. You fucking. Oh, the draft should still be a thing because the kids today are too fucking soft. Yeah, we're fighting your fucking wars that you fucking started. Your generation started. We fucking fought them, and then we're just like, oh, okay, well, we lost that one. Oh, your buddy died, huh? Well.
Next generation's responsibility. They're fucking to blame.
Fucking assholes.
They nicknamed it the Pig. It got replaced years ago with the 240 and the 249, which is half the weight and shoots a 5.56 and a 2.23.
Oh my God!
So this is coming from someone who actually has fired who actually used one of these weapons that he mentioned. Oh boy!
So the 240 Bravo is a 7.62, and yes, it did replace the M60 for most roles.
Mm-hmm.
The SAW is a different weapon. Not both of them shoot 5.56. One of them shoots 5.56. That's a 249.
Okay.
The SAW is like a smaller 240. The 240, whatever. Yeah, the M60. It was the Pig. He didn't get that part wrong because it sucks to carry. He never carried one because he was always riding in a fucking deuce and a half. Like, oh, look at this. I was a tank. I don't have to walk anywhere.
Did he even say like what he did in the military? Was he like what? Just
he served. I just looked him up. After dropping out of high school, he got drafted and worked and fired quad-mounted anti-aircraft guns at Fort Bliss and served for 2 years.
Nice.
Okay, so he never went over to Nam.
No,
of course not.
No, his big thing is that he's a motorcycle mechanic. But yes, his he and actually if you go to his website, some of the like comments on there will be like, Mel's the best motorcycle mechanic in the country and his museum's pretty cool. Like,
well, woo.
Also, the first thing that's pinned is a tweet from Larry the Cable Guy saying that DragonMan's museum is cool. He was going to be on the Discovery Channel.
Yep, I know that.
I saw this. Someone told me this. Yeah, he was going to have a reality show, but then
there was his wife and business manager was killed during the filming of a promotional piece after she was struck by smoke bombs traveling at 150 miles an hour. They tried to sue the Discovery Channel but failed. The case was dropped. So his wife was killed with the Discovery Channel thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who would have thought some shit would go wrong with this asshole around?
And it says that he's a collection of $10 million. But if we're going to talk about his service itself, he served for 2 years at Fort Bliss, which again, from a museum perspective, like if you back up and look at it, he's like, these are all the Vietnam vets I have. And he's relegated them all to the floor with just pictures with no names and no information. But then he's put himself at the level most people would have an exhibit with, again, no info. Mm-hmm. But he's got himself there like a monument to him, and then all the guys that have given him stuff are relegated to pictures on the floor with no name.
Yep.
Yeah. How fucking despicable.
Yeah, this fucking. Hold on, I'm texting one of my friends.
It's okay.
I
mean, it's I mean, the level of fucking ego and just, yeah, it's.
I'm gonna go to drink. Bareback.
All right.
Keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's astounding. Like,
yeah, this is why I want to do this stuff more, because it's like people like this really need to be just fucking lit up, and exposed for what they really are. And when you just get the average people that view this shit, the average people who aren't into military history, but they see this, I mean, they're not going to know any different. Like, oh, some expert knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
I'm going to listen to it. Fucking
well, here's the thing: is like,
man.
I understand that, like, when you and I and James and Nate and whoever else is on the pod, Chris, Jonesy,
Mm-hmm.
like whoever is on, we do speak from a position of authority.
Yeah.
Because of our experiences, but also we always go, this is what I think, this is what I've got. It's not like we know that we're speaking like that, so we're very careful to tell people that, hey, what I say is not gospel.
Yeah.
It's not gospel, it's just what I think, and I want people to go and research for themselves and see what comes up, and then we can have a discussion.
That's what I want to do. I mean, like all the maps that I create, because I create maps and stuff, and people, I send them to people for free. Some people said, "Oh, are you selling those?" Like, no, I just want people to learn about it. And and I've had a number of them where like someone will say, "Hey, look, I discovered this new thing because of this photograph or this document."
Yep.
And it's like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's awesome. So now I know something new." And it's like, don't ever take this position where you're like, no, what I say is law, then you must, again, it's some weird egomaniacal shit to be like that.
I was talking to Nate a little bit earlier, and I was talking about when we were down in Ohio last year.
Right.
And, Nate brought his Smith 1917 revolver, and I have my Colt.
Yep.
And I didn't realize until he showed it to me. I was like, wait a second, this is so. And then we went up, and James was like, oh, here's James. Why. And then bam, 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 bam. And it's like, dude, I just learned something. I've had these guns for several years. I just didn't know that much. I learned something brand new and like really fucking cool. And it was like, that's fucking awesome. And now I share that with people. Yeah. It's really cool to learn. So.
And now you got the Smith & Wesson Bible.
I do. Yeah, it's in my library. Yep. It's we're reviewing him in real time. I'm just if my buddy Ray can get on here, he's the one that does the World War I mess shit, but he also knows a lot of shit about her. But he said he's seen clips and a tour online of him. So if Ray wants to come on, like he's a fucking hilarious dude.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I think it's just me, but a lot of museums are following this way that stuff is stuff, but stories are what are important.
Dude, yeah. And that's the thing is, if you can use stuff to bridge the gap between the story and, people's suspension of disbelief or trying to learn something or whatever, that helps. It does. But if you're just putting shit in a fucking room like this guy is, just for the sake of putting shit in a room, that's not teaching anybody anything.
You could have, let's just say this, right? We got 2 dog tags, World War I, right? There's 5 ways you can use this. His use is just, it's on a shelf.
There it is. Yep.
That's look what I got here. These are the original dog tags.
Exactly. Right. Oh, but if you were going to do it, the way I would do it is either 1, you talk about dog tags in general and a doughboy and kit. 2, focus on the person, right? Talk about his service in particular.
Right.
3, focus on his unit, right? Focus on whatever unit he served with. 4, focus on the state. He's from Oklahoma, which is why I have these. So now you can talk about Oklahoma in the war, right?
There you go.
There's so many, or the ship he went over on. You're going to do an exhibit on the transport, and he was on that ship, right? If you can tie an artifact to a story in some way, shape, or form, it's worth it to the people. But when you just have, it's dog tags. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting space.
You got dog tags. I got dog tags.
Yeah, it's useless. But there are so many ways to actually use these things for education.
Well, that's the thing is, like I said, it's bridging the gap, because the thing is, back when I didn't really do a lot of reenacting. I did a lot of living history, right? Where we would be sitting in a fighting position that we dug out by ourselves. We made it historically correct and everything. And people would just come by and they'd talk and they'd be like, what's this? They'd ask questions, and we would be able to bridge the gap of what they had conceived about the First World War versus what actually was. And they're like, oh, I hadn't even thought of it that way. Oh, that's really, oh, really? And it's like, yeah, it's only 100 years ago. Like, or at that point, it was only 100 years ago. It seems like a lot farther back because there wasn't videos and, a lot of photos taken in combat. But like, so you bridge the gap using our tangible stuff. Like we were wearing all the gear and all that shit. Like we were at, in Ohio. But like, so people were like, so what's this piece of gear? Oh, it's a canteen. This is what they would have carried, blah, blah, blah. And then they go, oh, so if they were doing this, and it starts like getting the gears rolling. You have to have a bridge between the physical item, the artifact, and the story.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, the artifact is just sitting there.
Yeah.
You get a room full of mannequins and plastic.
That's what, yeah. Yep.
The thing is too, when it comes to this stuff, like we're not here being like we're a bunch of know-it-alls, and things like that. It's like it's absolutely fine to not know anything. That's what the best thing is, to like teach people shit, but that's my point with guys like him. He preys on the average Joe who comes and doesn't know anything. He's like, oh, this is a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, well, let me tell you about this. They're going to listen to him because in their eyes, he's an expert, and that's the most dangerous thing. It's like, it's okay to not know anything, but you just have to, it's like getting gypped, over the phone or something like that.
Well, really quick, James, how many items, how many displays, how many artifacts do you have in your museum right now that you don't actually know anything about?
So that's the beauty of it. I've got my curator, right? His job is to take everything and research it. So personally, there's a ton. We've got probably like 5,000 artifacts. I don't know everything. So people bring me stuff. He sits there and does the research on every item. And some of it's like, this is a really cool camera. Cool. Right. But like, I'm not going to use that for an exhibit.
Yes.
But there's stuff in there that are already set up that it's guys like when I got there, I didn't know anything. So the first thing I did was start researching every single one. Like I didn't know about the wild weasels, but we had a wild weasel display, but now I do because I read up on them. Right. There's a lot of things that come in you don't know, but the purpose is using it in that way. And honestly, we do it all the time. It's what my director first did when I started my museum classes. He would bring us things that we'd never seen before. And then be like, what is this? And then make us critically think and try and figure it out.
Yeah.
And what he was pushing was critical thinking. Yeah. That's the whole point.
Well,
it's okay
that's
not to know.
In general, like the thing is, like when I was in college, people were like, there was the psych degree majors and all that shit. Like, what are you going to use a history major for? I didn't major in history, but like I had a minor in it. And then they're like, what are you going to use that for? I'm like, and the history teacher's like, yeah, it's very, very transferable skills of doing research.
Critical thinking is great.
Thinking and compilations of here's all the facts that it's a primary source, a secondary source, whatever. You kind of triage those, get them in, and then if you're going to do a work, you compile all of that to what you understand is consistent and what is not, and blah blah blah. You write it down in a way that's as factual as you could possibly get, because everybody's got a bias. Everybody does. It might be one or two sentences in your entire work, but it's going to be there. That's fine. But like, as long as you can mitigate all that shit and just go, here's what I've learned, and then open it up for argument and debate. That's the whole point of history. And
we did it once with an artifact assignment where they said, pick 2 artifacts in the museum, research it. So I picked this bullet mold, like a lead bullet mold. And the tag, the museum, my university opened in 1916. So a lot of people just brought shit. And so the tag that came with it was picked up on the battlefield of Battle of Little Bighorn battlefield, used by Custer's soldiers. Right. Okay. That's what it was. So you can't prove that story. I can't prove it. But what I can do is tell you what it was. So what I ended up doing was like researching it all, being like, this is a bullet mold for this. It was made for this type of munition. He's like, and so what I had to do was like, if it was indeed picked up at Little Bighorn, it was likely used by Native Americans because Custer's men did not have any weapons that fired musket balls, but the natives could have been using trade rifles.
Correct.
And therefore, I can't discredit the story. I'm going to tell you that
what you know,
if the story's true, then all right, that's the whole thing. If you don't know the true answer, you have to give it the credit is due.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to do the hypothetical. Like, all right, hypothetically, you're telling the truth. Then it's more likely it's this, not this. That was a great experience for me to learn. Like, it's okay not to know the full story, as long as you're presenting it with all the available information.
Whatever you know, that's all that can be asked of you. That's all it can be asked. And it's like, so maybe somebody picks it up and finds something that says, "Oh, this was actually not, this was blah blah blah." Who cares? It's like, we just want to get it as correct as we possibly can and pass it on, because it's a never-ending thing. All right.
And it just feels like such a waste. If truly a lot of the stuff was given to him by Vietnam vets, he could have some really great exhibits and stories on display. Instead, we're looking at photos on the ground and uniforms covered in plastic.
Let's get into his commentary too. This is gonna be good.
Okay, you come over here. These are a whole bunch of butterfly bombs. We got smoke grenades. We got gas grenades. We got the walkie-talkies they used back then.
Handy-talkie.
Okay, over here, this is the South Vietnamese. We were there to protect them. The U.S. government gave them tiger uniforms.
No, they
Vietnam was cut at the 22nd parallel.
The exact fucking opposite.
My God.
Isn't that the exact opposite?
They were using that shit because of the French. It's the TAP 48 fucking... never mind.
Even I know that.
Just keep going. Let's just watch it halfway.
The bad guys,
and come back.
Good guys, Saigon. This was the summer uniform back then. The Special Forces Tiger uniform. The Air Force uniform back then. The Marine uniform, which they never change over 100 years. When you see a picture in front of the mannequin, that's actually Larry. Actually the...
And he's wearing his fucking...
He's not wearing the dress.
He's wearing his fucking... He's wearing his fucking greens. He's oh my
God. There's a picture of an old woman standing next to the dress blues with that photo that's right next to it.
He says that, as a matter of fact, that's Larry, as if there's supposed to be a tag there that tells you who Larry is.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell Larry is.
A soldier that wore that uniform. Here's the camouflage uniform, 1957. The female uniform, 1959 to 75.
No, that's a fucking 80s.
These are the type of guns
that's fucking BDUs.
We were issued back then. This is the M14, shoots a 308
gun
bullet.
Show tag on there. Nice.
150 grain bullet, very, very accurate.
147.
In 1966, they took these away from the soldiers
and
gave them this new Mattel gun. That's what we used to call it. Mattel gun, Toys R Us. Nobody really liked these. That's the first time the U.S. government gave a soldier a plastic weapon.
Even I know this shit, dude. Oh my God, this is laughable. Mattel, made by a toy company.
All right, we'll just keep going.
It's made out of Zytel plastic, and these always jammed. The tolerances were way too close. A lot of young soldiers, lost their lives because these malfunctioned. Okay, you pick up an AK-47 out of the mud, cock it, pull the trigger, and 90% of the time they always work.
Yeah.
The reason is there's about 8 to 10 thousandths of an inch clearance on all the moving parts for the dirt. This is one of the best military weapons they ever came out with. All the countries overseas use these. The AK-47, made and designed in Russia in 1947.
Russia.
Okay, this way you got a little history of all this stuff here from Vietnam. And check out how pretty the nurses were. That's why every day I had a problem. Okay, guys, follow me. Let's go around the corner here. I want to show you the Vietnam era vehicles.
Oh, God. The
I have 92 vehicles in the museum now.
World War I. Oh,
okay.
God.
This is a Vietnam era hospital tent. See this? Check it out. Hey, check out George over there. He got deceased. He got shot in the back last night. See, they put a toe tag on him. These are toe tags. I have books of them. See that?
Yeah.
And on the toe tag would have been filled out his name, his rank, his serial number, date of birth, next of kin, and most of them were flown back on the C-130 airplanes back to America when the planes came back for supplies. Okay, you don't get any more realistic than this. Everything under the tent here is 100% original Vietnam era medicine, operating tools, Band-Aids. The operating light would have worked off the M43 ambulance on the other side. And this is as realistic as anybody could ever make it. Okay, over here, we got Dave over here. He's getting better. He got shot in the shin. See, this is what the nurses looked like back then overseas. That's the uniform.
This is mental illness, right?
Okay, over here, this
has got to be mental illness.
Just press play.
Dave, he got a chest wound. He's been getting better. He's been laying here a few days. Okay, you swing the camera over here. Here's the C rations they used back then, the cooking equipment, the pots for the soup. These are the uniforms they wore.
No.
Okay, you guys know what these are? Decontamination spray. See, if you think you got Agent Orange or anything on you, you come back, they'd hose you down, you have to strip, they spray you with all this stuff, and you take a quick shower, get rid of your clothes, and get rid of all the agents. Okay, over here, this is a medical display. You can hop in here, take a look at the inside of the ambulance. That's the M43 ambulance, Vietnam era. And like I said, you don't get any more realistic than this.
Yeah, you do.
These are the stretchers they used. The gas cans they used, the blankets they used.
With the realistic comment he keeps making, there's a term for it in the museum world, and it's I can't think of it right now, but it's the little details, the little tiny details that matter. And the one I've seen the most is actually an exhibit on like a GWAT, but they had a vehicle, a Humvee, but all the vets were really happy because in the cup was a spit cup. Yep. But it was one of like the Afghan bottle with the, and that like to them, that's what they connected with. Like that was realistic, the reality of it. And I've seen other museums like in Oklahoma City, the 45th Museum, they have, a personnel carrier, and the guy that set it up served in Vietnam in one of those. So he set it up, filled with casings and like it's nasty
just
and dirty.
Shit. Yeah.
And he's like, this is exactly what it fucking looked like when we were in it all the time. And it was those little tiny details that make it realistic, but filling it with surplus does not make something realistic. That's like the showroom floor. Like this is everything if it's perfect and working, but the reality is never that. So
that's what I always say, like in doing like stuff like that, it's the imperfections that make it good.
Yeah, exactly. And the imperfections are exactly the reality of it. And you don't get that. So it's like, I would never go like, this is realistic. I'm like, this is what we have, and this is what they would have worn. But at the same time, we don't have combat used material to make it look like it did. So unless you're using a photograph and making it exactly that, you can't claim it's as realistic as possible.
What I miss?
Just the tent and the shot show.
More medical shit. More fucking World War II brightly painted fucking medic helmets in Vietnam that were used apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Never the fuck mind that I've known several combat medics who were in Vietnam, and they oddly enough they had gear just like everyone else except they carried an aid bag and some more medical shit. Mm-hmm. They had weapons and they had a Mitchell pattern helmet cover on, and it's weird how that works, right?
Just press play, Mike.
I'm working on it.
The canteens, everything we could find to make this more realistic.
Yeah, you did.
I'm over here. Let me show you some of the vehicles. So this is the M43 ambulance. Over here, we've got a whole row of M37s. These were made 1950 to 68. If you were in Vietnam, you definitely seen an M37. In fact, the soldiers that come through my museum tell me they're still using M37s in bases all around the world.
No, they're fucking
you
not.
You can't beat a Dodge. I think if it was a Ford, it wouldn't have lasted this long.
My dad's got one. They have not been used since the fucking 90s.
So as you can see, I got a lot of license plates on these vehicles because we put them in the parades. Veterans Day, November 11th. I like to put in 15, 20 vehicles. Okay, over here we have the
flags over helmets.
M170 ambulance. See, this is the little ambulance, 4-wheel drive, and these were all around Vietnam. Okay, let's move down here a little bit. Okay, you guys remember the mule? All you Vietnam veterans? Here's the mule. This happens to be a very, very rare one. Only the first 1,000 had front and rear steering. Yeah, check out the rear wheels. See that turn? The Willys Company made these. After the 1,000, the Army and the Marine Corps didn't want rear steering anymore because these really, they flip over really easy. Okay, let's move down here a little bit. This happens to be the M38A1. See that? And they actually used these in Vietnam. But the most popular Jeep was right here, the Mud 151. This is one of the first ones, 1960 to 83. They made these. I have 11 of them. Okay, come around the turn here.
Whoopie woo.
Okay, check this out. This is the Mighty Mite. You guys in the Marines probably recognize this. This is the airborne Jeep that they airborne out of the C-130 airplanes for the Marines. They're 4-wheel drive. What makes this Jeep really special, if one wheel hit a landmine and blew off, it has a differential and a drive shaft for each wheel. It was designed and made to keep going on 3 wheels. I have the original parachute in this canister.
Ran over
and I think before the end of the summer, I'm going to have...
If you ran over a fucking even anti-personnel mine with that fucking thing, you're done.
Yeah.
What a fucking retard.
Hang up the parachute up on the ceiling and hook up the shackles to the bumper, just the way it would have been pushed out of the C-130 airplane. All made out of aluminum. Even the motor's aluminum. Air cool.
No, it's not.
Okay, come around the turn here.
You can't fucking
do that. This is my 113 Armored Personnel Carrier. And I got this as scrap metal. Here's pictures of me putting the motor in. It's got a 400 cubic inch Detroit diesel motor, and now it's fully operational. I was real lucky to get the machine gun nest, see on the top. Normally, the government never auctions these off with the machine gun nest. And another special item is the turntable. That holds an 81 millimeter mortar, which I have on the other side of the museum. And it has the radio in here, too. And here, this is the soldier's mortar manual, right? Okay, on page 2, you know what it says? It says, make sure your hatch doors are open before firing. That's a good idea. Yeah, and I got pictures here of me driving it around. You know, got to show everybody it works. Got to prove everything.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay, you come around here.
Tiny dick. Fucking button dick shithead.
Yeah, this here's the Gamma Goat.
But
yeah, they only
pause
made
for a second.
14,000 of these. Luckily, I had one.
I've never seen so many fucking flags in my life. Like, Jesus Christ. What is the point of this?
We're at the UN, dude.
He's patriotic. Leave him alone.
I mean, I'm getting fucking blinded by the colors, man.
All the fucking M81 BDUs, like the fucking just... Oh, Vietnam camouflage.
It's like that's
These
like 10 years off.
They're made out of aluminum. They had the same Detroit 400 cubic inch diesel motor as the 113. And this is a lot of fun to drive. It actually goes 55 miles an hour.
Tires out.
And the trouble with the Gamma Goat is there's too many moving parts. There's actually 14 drive shafts. Each wheel has its own differential and drive shaft. If a wheel blows off, it's designed to drive around.
You said the same thing about the fucking little
Jeep. He's stuck on that.
He's just a fucking idiot. Like, oh my god!
If all the wheels blow off, it can still go.
Of the 5 wheels left. See that? Yeah, I got license plates on the back. I got about 25 to 30 Army vehicles with license plates on them because I like to take them out, have little convoys, and put them in parades. Okay, come on here. Vietnam era quad mount. See, they used those in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, but they didn't use them on the half track. We took the quad mount off and put it on the M35 Deuce and a half. They led the convoys on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Okay, over here,
We never
got a
What?
whole bunch of Humvees. But the Humvees didn't come out yet.
They were driving those half tracks on the Ho Chi Minh Trail through the mountains of
I'm checked
Cambodia.
out at this point. I'm checked out. This is
All right,
fucking.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
Keep
we
this
got
is
some
fucking-
fucking Humvees here. Okay.
Yeah, these are 151A2s. These are the newest Jeeps, 151A2. The last 4 years, the Kaiser Company made these in Wisconsin. They came out with roll bars because they knew these vehicles turn over real easy. They have A-frames all the way around. So the last 151A2 was 1983. The first Humvee was 1984. By that time, Vietnam was over.
Oh,
So
really?
they used the
No shit,
151A2s and the M37s. I have about 9 of these M37s.
Why?
Okay, let's not forget about the
So no one else will, I
715.
guess?
Yeah, follow me.
We probably got them for $500 a piece back in the day. Now they're worth a shitload. My dad's got one. They're fucking awesome. But
Okay, what about the M100 trailer and the M416 trailer? Here, step over here. Yeah, this is something a lot of people don't know. This is the Vietnam era Jeep trailer, and this is the World War II and Korea trailer. Okay, you see the difference right away? Vietnam trailer, the 416. Here, see that? It had the triangle fenders.
trapezoid.
Look at the World War II
You don't know
fenders.
what a
They're round.
triangle is? Oh
And
my
that's about
God,
the
dude.
only difference. On these little trailers, there was never a tailgate. Okay, let me show you this last vehicle here. Okay, this is the M715. It's a cargo trailer. If you were in Vietnam, you definitely recognize this vehicle. The Kaiser Company made these, 1967 to 69.
What if I was in
Yeah, we got
Vietnam in
more
65?
Vietnam vehicles over here. Here, in 1960, they came out with this M38 A1. That was used all through Vietnam. But most guys like to ride the 151A2. See, this actually has a snorkel kit. See that tube
So did the other one.
going up the side of the windshield? That actually connects to the air cleaner. Everything was waterproof after 1950. And then the exhaust pipe goes up about 6 feet in the back. So this vehicle could actually keep running and drive around in 5 feet of water. Everything was waterproof, but the driver.
Yeah, except
Okay, guys. Well, I hope you learned a lot today, and keep
I
in
did.
touch. I'll make another video in a few days. I've been very busy over here at Dragonland.
sure
You know, we
fucking
got
buy more
the new
flags. What a fucking douche.
Jesus Christ. Well, that was even more egregious than the Normandy one, than the D-Day one.
It gets worse too.
Mm.
It gets
I
way
can't
worse. I've seen one like his quote unquote Nazi room.
Oh, is that what he calls it?
Yeah, that one I've
Nazis.
seen.
I'm sure that's a.
And it's all it's like 90%, 99% reproduction shit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Or like foreign shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But hey, it's the real deal. It's the real deal. Blah, blah.
Just you pull out like a fucking like repro like M24 stick grenade. And
I do
This
know
is
the
the
one he
real
likes
deal.
to show off. He says it's Hitler's personal bodyguard's belt buckle that opens into a gun.
Yep.
oh, one
and
of
that
those
was-
things.
Oh yeah, he's just a fucking absolute boomer wreck when it comes to that shit. Like literally, he doesn't know a fucking thing about anything he's got.
Wow. Well,
Like
what
nothing.
are we gonna do next?
What are we gonna? Oh, you want more?
I don't know. What do you guys want to do? You want to call it a night, or you want to do another one?
I can't deal with more than one of this man a night.
Okay.
Yeah, it's small dose. I mean, I know you want to go forward, but like,
Because I got to go to
Jesus.
work in the morning and then be like, I don't want to be like him.
Well, the funny thing is that no, I get it. But the funny thing is, like, I'm not a Vietnam aficionado at all. But like when he started saying that stuff about the M16 and all that, I was just like, oh my god.
so he's got a 30-round fucking mag and an A1 clone, right?
Yeah.
The A1 was introduced in 1967, right? So the XM16 E1, which I have here, I'm just not gonna touch, was pretty well issued, and there was an incident where the military, the DoD, contracted with the ammunition manufacturers and said, just use up a lot of that excess World War II ball ammo that we've got laying around.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up loading it with like just shitty burning ammo, or I'm sorry, powder, not ammo. Shitty burning powder. And they issued that to people with the M16. Well, the M16 is prone to fouling if your ammunition, your powder burn rate is not good. And there's a lot of carbon that builds up. Even if you shoot like 200 rounds through an M16 or an AR, it's going to start getting sticky, the bolt.
Yeah.
It'll work, but that's why the forward assist came on. He's saying it might get a lot of people killed. No, it didn't.
Mm.
It might have gotten a handful of people. No more than McNamara's morons did. But we're not
One of
going to
those
talk about that.
One of those things where people have to really inflate death tolls and shit like that.
Oh, absolutely, because it's for the dramatics, the effect. And it's like, well, why don't you talk about McNamara's morons? Mm-hmm. That was tens of thousands of people who were killed and maimed. Very low IQ. Mm-hmm. Should not have been in the military at all. But hey, that's never talked about. It's all, they were all draftees. No, they weren't. And the M16 got so many people killed. Most Vietnam vets that I've talked to, including Don, said, yeah, the M16 worked.
I've never heard people. I've heard that they like, I've heard something, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that like at first it didn't come with a cleaning kit or something, and then people were like, we need the fucking cleaning kit for this gun or something. I don't know if that's true, but that's the only kind of complaint I've ever heard about the M16 when it comes to going into Vietnam. Again, don't know if it's true or not.
It needs to be cleaned, yes, but the trope is that they found guys like Marines, a bunch of Marines up near Khe Sanh, or before that, actually. I don't remember exactly where it was. The trope is that they found a bunch of Marines, like 19, 20-year-old Marines, which most of them are in their mid-20s, but dead in their foxholes or their fighting positions or whatever, with their guns broken open. The first like takedown pin was out. They were trying to clean their guns mid-firefight. That was the trope.
Okay.
Did it probably happen, or what? In a very limited basis, it could have.
Right, but that spreads like
it absolutely could have. Yeah, and that it's just like gas in World War I. Like that was the least casualty-producing weapon that was used in the First World War. But everybody who was in the First World War, or if you ask their relatives, they were gassed. And it's like, maybe.
Well, it's funny though. Like, there's these stories that revolve around the main battle rifles, and their flaws. It seems like the M1 with the ping, the M16, getting guys kitten. It's just like for some reason people love to attach these like unfortunate stories to things like that for some reason. I guess it's just the underdog.
It's projecting an overly dramatic narrative.
Right. Yeah. This over dramatic underdog narrative. Yeah.
You notice that, James, like in your career, like people just tend to project an overly dramatic narrative and like what they think it's like, but it's not.
It's not so much what they think it's like. It's what they were told once, and that is what their mind now assumes is the experience. So like you said, you get like World War I, it's always my grandpa was gassed. And you have to understand the difference that being gassed is different than being exposed to gas.
There you
like
go.
Men that are gassed inhaled it, or it got on their skin and they were medically wounded and they are therefore gassed. But almost all men on the front lines experienced a gas attack, but they had their mask on, and so it was fine, right? They made it through. So you get that issue where people just like, and they always say the trenches, because in their mind, they've always been told World War I was trench warfare, but they don't know the caveats that like most American troops never really stepped foot in a trench, and
not a static trench. It was like a hasty,
and only a few though, like First Division, Second Division, only a handful of divisions were in actual trenches for a certain time. But that's what people think. Like, well, my grandpa was in the trenches. And one I like to use is a guy that said, my grandpa was a Marine. He was in World War I. He was always really silent about it, because of the things he had seen in the trenches. And so I was like, let's do some research. And it turned out his grandpa served on like the USS Philadelphia or something and never left American waters. So it's like, no, your grandpa didn't talk about the war because he never went to the war. Like,
right. There you go.
He never stepped foot in France, but the family had developed
The
story. And then you get same thing with World War II. You know, my grandpa was on Omaha Beach. Like, yeah, your grandpa landed on D-Day +6. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, he landed on Omaha Beach, and that's the only part you understood. But like 6 days after the battle, right?
Yep.
And then Vietnam, it's Agent Orange. Like, oh, I was exposed to Agent Orange. Again, not a thing. Like, there's a great book on Agent Orange, and part of his discussion is like when the Army and VA were like giving benefits for people that have been exposed to Agent Orange, you can't prove what disease is caused from Agent Orange. Correct. So they had to do like a big swath of it. And so like he put up one case of like this guy in the Navy who took one flight over to like Quezon or some shit, and he stepped out of his plane to smoke a cigarette, and then he got back in the plane. But because he stepped foot onto Vietnam soil, he qualified for Agent Orange benefits, right? It's like but people like, my grandpa was exposed to Agent Orange. No, he wasn't, right? Yeah. He might have been in Vietnam at the time, but like it's highly unlikely your grandpa was bathing in Agent Orange.
It was used in a very specific part of the country.
Exactly. So it's like it's not fully people's fault that that's what they think, because they were only taught a standard story, and then the little details they learned from whatever war, they held on to that knowledge, and then therefore grandpa must have been involved in this, right? So you can't avoid it. It's an unfortunate thing. All you can do is try to help steer people in the right direction, but whether or not they take that into consideration. I've had people be like, "Oh, okay, my bad. Thanks for letting me know." And I have people tell me, you're wrong. I'm like, here's the fucking muster roll.
I'm the fucking researcher here, like, motherfucker.
I had one guy tell me, like, that's not the unit my grandpa served in. And I sent them a photo of the muster roll. Like, no, this is what unit he served in. It's fucking right here. No, that's not it. And I'm like, God, my grandma said. I was like, fuck you and your grandma then. Go do whatever you want. People just get stuck, and it's not always their fault. It's what they saw on a movie. It's what grandma told them. It's what they assume.
And this is a grander whole thing with this, is that people just in general like want to have this importance. Want to have this, to feel like their family or something connected to them is important. Oh, we have a new guy here.
Yeah, Ray, this is Mike, James. Everybody, this is Ray.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Fucking hell of a historian.
We're discussing people having false memories of things, like grandpa was in the trenches, or grandpa landed on Omaha Beach, or grandpa was a tunnel rat. The tunnel rat one is another one. I saw someone mention it in the comments.
Yeah, like I was going to read that.
The tunnel rat one is always like, my grandpa was a tunnel rat. Like, no, it probably wasn't. But like, there's one, I remember in Oklahoma City, there was an exhibit on Vietnam, and there was one of the stories from a guy who said he was a tunnel rat. And he's like, yeah, I ran into a tiger. I'm like, what? And he was claiming that the Vietnamese would like put tigers in the tunnels. And I'm like, I understand all the others, but like the idea that the Vietnamese somehow dragged a tiger into the tunnels and then it survived in the tunnels to be a booby trap for American soldiers is like a bit too much. It sounded more like he was told while he was in Vietnam, oh yeah, they're putting tigers in the tunnels. And then he comes home with that story.
Or hey, this gun that we've got, this new gun, it feels like plastic, so it must be made by Mattel.
That's how a lot of these fucking myths and things like the M1 ping and stuff, that's really how they form, or like these rumors that circulate. Yeah,
it's like, and how dare you question them? Like, that's what I learned in Vietnam. Like, okay, go fuck yourself. That's what you heard from somebody else.
Yeah,
and somebody else. True. And it's unfortunate. And dealing with my work, it typically like people, well, you didn't serve. How do you know? I'm like, yeah, I don't have your fucking biases,
dude. And also,
I don't have the army. Like, I don't have this mindset that I know what I'm talking about because I was there. No, I have the object of saying I wasn't there, so I researched it.
Dude, the only fucking thing that they can comment on is their own experience. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And even that is iffy.
When I came back from Iraq as a fucking 19-year-old, I didn't know fucking my ass from a hole in the ground, right? Doesn't make me an expert just because I was part of history. No, I'm not part of that part of history. I'm part of what I did. And like, it doesn't make me a fucking subject matter expert just because I was in the military and whatever. That's another thing that whenever somebody says, well, when did you serve? And you know, if you're saying things about military history.
Oh, I got that just the other day. Like, they were telling me like, well, you don't understand. You know, this is service. I'm like, no, what I understand is that you're quantifying your own opinions and whatever the hell you're doing. But that's not the overall goal of what we're doing here. So like, get over your own bullshit, take your ego out of the story, and let's have an actual conversation, because right now, and that's a lot of them that are like, it's their ego. And I think with Dragon Man, he built shrines to himself in those examples. You know,
so, and
I see the comments with Patrick talking about the tunnel rat. It's always interesting to see the tunnel rat stuff, but you know, again, it's like some were, some weren't.
From my understanding is like it was kind of like you're a small dude, you can get in there, do this. If we find a tunnel system and we choose to go in, and not just fucking, you know, white phosphorus the shit out of it, then you go in and investigate, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't like a fucking MOS, you know?
Yeah.
It was, exactly. Your infantry, your 03 or 11 series, and then you go in. Ray, have you done much research on Vietnam and stuff like that with tunnel rats?
Tunnel rat in Vietnam is not my expertise, but I work with plenty of guys that were Vietnam veterans and who were in Vietnam. You know, they all got stories of going in tunnels and doing stuff like that.
But that's what I mean. Like,
look, my dad is a great example. He is dead set that my great grandfather, his grandpa, was like some special forces in World War II, because he used to get drunk and, you know, talk about, oh, well, you know, a Jap's head blows up like a watermelon when you hit it with a 45. He would say weird shit. And to my dad is dead set that, you know, what the paperwork says isn't the truth. He was, you know, I'm like, I got his paperwork. He was a fucking mechanic on an island. And like, he was on Guadalcanal, his only campaign medal, right? But like, he's not and my dad's like, well, he was a tunnel rat. I was like, they didn't do that in World War II. And he literally, and this was like a month ago, where he's like, no, he was a tunnel rat. I'm like, Dad, Marines were not going into tunnels in World War II.
No,
because they were like, fuck that. There were no there were not tunnel rats. That's not a thing. And he's like, well, you know, you don't know because you weren't there. You don't know.
What do you do for a living?
I'm like, what the? So this is not the way it works. But again, his mind, is tunnel rats, tunnels.
Yeah.
All of this together it creates that image that you.
It's also a badass thing.
Hey, Mike, how about this? Mike, can you look up Dragon Man and do a World War I? Figure out a World War I display, because now that Ray's on here and James is on here and I'm on here,
I'm down. We're hot now. Yeah,
we got to fucking do the World War I.
Look, all of it together. Like, I'm trying to think of some other examples I get of like ridiculous stories all the time. Some are true, some not so much. But again, I'm trying to think like the main keys, like the trenches, Omaha, tunnel rats.
Well, yeah, okay. Going back to the trenches thing, because Ray hadn't jumped on yet. So we were talking, Ray, about like most Americans weren't in quote unquote the trenches for long.
No, they weren't supposed to be.
Right.
Pershing wanted them on the move.
But it wasn't until later. So like that's what we were discussing. Like 1st Division, 2nd Division, like hell, the 2nd Division I think probably spent the most time in the trenches because they got stuck there for 3 months. So for 3 months, the Marines were trapped in the trenches, actual trenches of Verdun, right? But like that's probably the only unit that spent a long period of time in trench warfare, American unit, right? But like that's still such the what we were saying is it's such like. My grandpa fought in the trenches. No, he didn't. Right. No, he didn't. He did not.
He was probably in a 3-foot deep hasty trench.
Communication.
Yeah.
He was. Trench. Oh no, it's it's like my grandpa was in a trench and the MERS are gone. Like, okay. All right, buddy. Yeah, he charged with Alvin York up that trench.
That's right.
Really quick, Ray. James wrote a book, a very controversial book, but I read it and I got pissed off because I know that it's real. And he wrote a book about the other 16.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read it?
I have not read it, but I've heard about it.
Yep, you should probably read it because Mastriano, one of your buddies, Ray.
Yeah.
Mastriano and James are in a feud.
Fuck that dude. I won the feud. All right.
There was a feud back in 08 when they were doing the monument and displays too going on there in France.
Yeah, I rekindled it and I got his PhD revoked.
Yeah, I was over there when they were doing it with in Chateau Cherie.
Yeah, it's some bullshit.
He's such an enemy that James is mentioned on Mastriano's Wikipedia page.
I did that. I just want to put that in there that I put my name on there.
Okay.
Oh, so it's a monument to yourself then.
Yeah, someone else added it. Like someone else added something saying a university grad student. I was like, no, I want my name. So I put my name in there. Like, put some fucking respect on it. If we're going to talk shit, I want my name stamped on it.
So anyway, James wrote that book. Yeah, exactly. And James wrote that book, and it stirred a lot of feathers. Also, people were like, "Shit, well, I've never actually thought about it this way. It's fucking that makes sense."
Yeah, I mean, I've been to both spots, so I mean, I get it.
Yeah, because you're with Rob, and Rob and James know each other as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Lavalander.
Yep.
Yeah, I donated. I don't know if you knew, Ray. I had all the artifacts from that dig that they did. Tom Nolan gave me everything, so I had even the collar disc, the Company G 328 collar disc they found.
That's cool.
I donated it all, and Michael did a painting for me, so I donated all of it to the World War I Museum.
I'm doing another one for him too.
Yep.
So
all right. So I've got the link, Ray, and others, and oh God, this is gonna be
This is gonna be fun because
Ray, again, so for people that don't know in the chat, Ray was my mentor when I got into reenacting World War I US, and we still talk a lot about history shit and whatever, and we're friends. And so Ray was a huge influence of me getting really into World War I and learning the correct history versus what we're led to believe. So
fireworks are about to fly, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it could.
Let's see some bullshit.
All right.
James, also, you're into the WWII as well. So.
No, I hate WWI.
It's a rough one, but all right. So Ray, you guys ready? All right.
How you doing, guys? I'm in my World War I room. Everything in this room is over 100 years old. The Americans went to World War I in France in 1917 to 1918. In that period of time, 50,300 Americans died in 1 year. That was really a bloody
Spanish
war.
flu casualties.
So let me show you around a little bit. Hey, look how skinny these guys were 100 years ago.
No.
Most of these mannequins in my World War I room,
Really quick, I just have to comment on this because this pisses me off, and I'm going to make a proper video eventually on that. People were skinnier and people were smaller back then. Not fucking true.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I have an original uniform here at the house from a guy from Oklahoma City, and I can wear it. It fits me perfectly.
Dude, there was
a lot, though.
Ray, I size 46 code.
Exactly. Remember Mark? He's from North Dakota, and like he had an original 88th Division service coat in 46 long.
Yeah, you can find them, but again, I gotta say he's not wrong, and it is an actual study on they were smaller, and the argument is because by the time you hit the 50s, we start getting foods that we put more, whatever into.
Okay,
we are larger today.
Yeah, but here's the thing too: is that people from the cities, the most population, were malnourished and smaller. Also, with that. I'm not going on this tirade because it's a fucking hour and a half of ranting. That uniform right there, you look at anybody when I was in the military, that's an average size person. People are not fucking generally fat in the military. Yeah. They can be big. They can be big and stocky and whatever. They're not generally fat. Usually people are in their best shape while they're active duty combat arms military, right?
World War I's not really a fair point to go off of because they also started pulling fat older guys in for commanding roles. So you do find photos of like fat doughboys.
Well,
which is kind of funny because there are some good photos of fat doughboys.
I know, but like in general, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, fucking modern day, most guys when I was a big guy, like when I was thinner, I was a lot thinner than I am now. But like I was a fucking huge dude compared to most people who were in the military and they wore a uniform like that. Yes, the nutrition's better and all that shit. The bone structure, the bone density is probably higher. But to say that people were generally smaller, it's not by that much.
Yeah, fair.
It's not by that much. It's nutrition mainly in the inner cities.
Here, I got to jump off for a second, but I'll be right back, okay?
Okay,
Right.
sounds good.
Hit play. I want to see more of this
Yep.
shit.
Yeah, we definitely will. So
Actually had to put on my jigsaw, give them a fast diet so the uniforms would fit. There was no fast food back then. No McDonald's, no Burger King, no Wendy's, no pizza.
yeah, that's
This
what
is
makes
the
you go
cavalry.
fat, you dumb fuck.
Uniform. See that? And this guy would have been on the horse,
Oh my God.
and he'd have.
Ray, just let me know what you see here.
I mean, like I said before, this guy, everything in bags, you can't really see. You've got all this cool stuff, but you can't really see it in the garbage bag. I get what you're doing with the dust cover and all that, but at least display it in a proper case or put something over it.
So this guy who was overseas, and he's a corporal apparently, in the Cav, would be wearing his campaign hat over in theater, right? Riding on his horse, charging the Germans, right?
Duh. Like fucking Warhorse.
Yeah. Fucking Christ.
Have either a Springfield or a Winchester rifle, Remington, or Eddystone. Okay, over here, you guys know who this is? Very famous general, John Pershing.
Purging?
He was the only, in history, military history, only 6-star general.
Oh my God, what? Ray, please tell me that's not bullshit.
I see 7 stars.
Was there ever a 6-star general?
No, that's crazy.
Isn't there like only 5 guys that got 5 stars? Like Washington,
1, 2, 3,
Grant.
just generals of the army, like I think was it MacArthur?
Yeah,
in World War II?
Grant, Sherman, Eisenhower,
Bradley,
Bradley,
MacArthur.
Pershing. I mean, he was, but I thought Pershing was a 4-star.
Yeah, it would have been just 4.
And the thing is they gave Washington, if I remember correctly, the rank of general of the armies, plural.
Yeah, he's because they raised him up above
Yep.
everyone else. Yeah,
It was 4 gold stars, and the rest of them are all silver. So
yeah, but then the only 5 stars are
Eisenhower was the first to
Eisenhower.
wear them.
Yeah, well, then I think they also kind of count that with like Grant and Sherman
It was
later too. But
the ones that wore that while they were alive were Eisenhower, MacArthur, and Bradley, to my knowledge.
okay,
To my knowledge, Ray, is that correct?
It sounds about right. I mean, I've got a pair of subdued ones, probably from like the 70s or 80s, but they never really wore them after World War II.
Right. Yeah. Korea.
Okay.
Yeah. But
hit play. What the fuck?
yeah. All right.
General to be able to get 6 stars. That's a big accomplishment. Okay, so he led all the men from the United States over to France. And let me just show you a few things here. We got a picture of Colonel Davis over there. That's his, he's wearing that Colt 1911 45. This is Lieutenant Jim Butler. What makes Jim Butler special in my museum is here's a picture of Jim Butler wearing that uniform 102 years ago. This is his original footlocker. That's a picture of his hobnail boots. See that? They used those.
What's up?
No service stripes. No.
Where's his boots at? I see later. There we go.
God. All right, keep going.
Those in World War I and the beginning of World War II. The Japanese, the British, the Americans, and the Germans all had hobnail boots. Okay, check this out. That's the 1917 American gas mask.
It's a training mask.
See that?
Yeah.
With the manual. The manual is still in here. Hey, look at that. over 100 years old. I don't even want to take it out. It's probably going to fall apart.
Yeah, because they gave them to all the guys that were embarking back to fucking New York because they're like, we made a shitload of these. We don't need them. Here, take it as a souvenir. Okay.
Yeah, helmets and gas masks.
That was the first time the military had chemical
Can you do me a
warfare.
favor? Go back for a second to just before he shows that uniform in the trunk. A little bit before. That's not the same uniform.
Oh God, no.
But he says it says it's the same one the guy's wearing.
It's the uniform he's wearing. That's not the uniform.
Not at all. Because this has got a unit patch on it. You can see, you can't tell. There's service chevrons right there. I don't know about wound chevrons, but also it's an engineer. Engineer insignia right there.
What makes Jim Butler special in my museum is here's a picture of Jim Butler wearing that uniform 102 years ago. This is his original footlocker. That's a picture of his hobnail boots. See that? They used those in World War I and the beginning of World War II. The Japanese, the British, the Americans, and the Germans all had hobnail boots. Okay, check this out. That's the 1917 American gas mask. See that? With the manual. The manual is still in here. And look at that.
The manual
over 100 years old. I don't even want to take it out. It's probably going to fall apart.
Someone pointed out those binoculars are World
That was
War
the first time
they're German. Yep.
The military had chemical warfare. Okay? These are very, very super rare. I have about a dozen of these. These are bottles where the chemicals were put in.
No.
See, and they put the top on. I even have the tops of the bottles. Yeah, see that? And these were put in the cannons. And in World War I, it was trench fighting. They'd shoot these back and forth, trench to trench, and they'd hope that bottle would break.
What?
And all the germs would come out.
Fucking.
The enemy would breathe it and get sick and eventually die.
That is by far, this has got to be satire.
I'm going to put my glass bottle in the barrel and shoot it over there and hope it breaks. Like, are these indestructible?
Wouldn't shatter immediately once firing the cannon. Yeah.
What the fuck?
This guy is so fucking dumb.
What?
Ray,
does he have a gas shell there too anywhere?
No, I haven't seen one yet.
Nope.
Nope, just bottles. Super rare.
I guess
if there was a chemical attack, you know, and during World War I in the trenches, check this out.
Oh, we got
okay.
That's a fucking piece of a fucking like volleyball net, like a modern fucking U-bend. Trust me.
This was the signal to put your gas mask on. That means there's a chemical attack, and all these soldiers will put their gas mask on. Very hard to find stuff like this. Everything, like I told you, is over 100 years old. Okay, here's Captain Smith. There's his uniform with a picture of him wearing it. And back then in 1917, cigarettes were actually 5 cents. I got a pack right over there. Cigarettes, 5 cents. And right next to it is chewing tobacco. This is the medic equipment they would have had there from 1914 to 1918. World War I actually started in 1914. The Americans got involved in 1917. This is the way the soldier's horse would have been set up. This is one of my oldest canteens. Check it out. 1905. See that date? 1905. This one's 1908. See, everything's dated back then. That's called a McCullen saddle. Doesn't look too comfortable. I really, I'd rather walk. Everything on the floor here is dated. World War I, 1914 to 1918. Here's the last General Patton sword, and this one is dated 1918. You guys can't see it, but the date is right up there.
The last
1918. The last Patton sword, cavalry sword, was made in 1919. Okay, if you got sick, shot, had to go to the hospital, this is what the nurses looked like. Look how skinny their feet were back then. People were a lot smaller.
No, they fucking.
Okay, in World War I, it was trench fighting. There'd be a trench about 2.5 miles long. About 300 feet away, there'd be another trench about 2.5, 3 miles long. And what they do for 5 or 6 months, they shoot back and forth to each other. And of course, they want to put their head over the trench to see what's going on, but they don't want to get their head blown off. So in 1917, the U.S. government came out with these binoculars. Very, very rare. I tell other museums that I have those trench binoculars, and they can't believe it. That's
Ray, what do you think about the trench binoculars?
I've had a pair of those. Not that rare. Periscopes. Actually, find a real periscope is a little bit harder, I think.
It's like a box kind of thing, right? It doesn't even look
It's
like
very
the,
rare.
It doesn't
It's
look
very
like the
rare.
rabbit ears.
No.
Yeah.
It's very rare, though, Ray.
It's
It's
very
very
rare.
rare.
how rare they are. Okay, all this stuff is dated back then. Here, I'm going to pick up the canteen. This one is
Saying that.
It's a rare canteen.
1918. Look at that.
Very
Rare.
rare.
See that? 1918.
No, I don't.
Most of the
can't-
canteens
Only 4 million made.
are stamped on the bottom or on the side. Look at that. 1919, 1918.
No,
I'm
you're
surprised it's not a Bakelite cap.
Okay, these are all the uniforms that they wore. It was made out of wool. And this is the type of lanterns they used back then. See that? I have about 35 of these.
Why?
I'm always getting more and more stuff from all over the United States, and I deal with 5 collectors overseas. Okay, I just happen to have a World War I vehicle right here. This is one of the first Dodge trucks Dodge made for the Army. In fact, they only made 1,000 of them. The serial number is 147.
So, Ray, do you know much about World War I vehicles?
I mean, I had a little bit, but I don't know much about Dodge.
Does that seem like the right color for World War I, though?
Oh, color is a weird thing about World War One. You got what you got, and you mix paints and colors and dyes, and any kind of olive mustardy green would probably work.
That looks a lot like the World War II generic, like.
That's
vehicle.
It does. It looks like you got
OD
the rail
green.
can out or whatever, and
Yep. Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it's fucking.
Well, I mean, it's stenciled.
Well,
new,
that and the
so
quality of
I
the
figured
video,
they
too, is kinda a little
repainted it and
hazy.
stenciled it.
Oh, the video sucks. Whoever's fucking filming this is a fucking idiot just as much. So.
The lighting could be bad too.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
Let me show you what one of the first Dodge motors looked like. It's only like 28 horsepower. See that? It's got a magneto. There was no batteries back then. There was no starter motor. So, of
He's got
course,
more
you got to
lanterns
crank
and
it.
lights on his vehicle than he needs.
The what?
He's got more lights and vehicles on his vehicle than he needs.
Yep.
No.
Searchlight.
And there was
lanterns.
no fuel pumps. So the gas tanks on these old vehicles always had to be higher than the carburetor. It's gravity feed. And there was no juice brakes. They have mechanical brakes. The brake shoe squeezes the brake drum instead of expanding. All the stuff I don't use for a long time, I jack it up so it doesn't distort the wooden spokes or the tires. If you look at your history books, World War I, you'll see a lot of teams of horses. They went through tens of thousands of horses died overseas. They worked them to death. They couldn't feed them. They just worked the horses until they fell down. You'll see a lot of teams of horses pulling all kinds of military vehicles in World War I uphill, because when these vehicles go uphill, they run out of gas because the carburetor gets no gas. See, it's all gravity feed. So once the carburetor gets even with the gas tank going on an angle, it stalls. That's why you see a lot of horses pulling vehicles around. This here's a World War I staff car. See that? In World War I and World War II, the U.S. government didn't have enough vehicles to get the officers around the base. So they went to
Looks like
Ford,
there's got a lot
Chevy,
of
and
British
Dodge
helmet
and bought
on
regular.
It's like a
American
supply truck.
What's up?
It's a
I've-
supply trucker, so it's not an officer car.
And I've seen a lot of British helmets on American mannequins.
Well, that's not inaccurate. But
There's a bunch of fucking M1 helmets down there, though. For some
yeah,
reason.
it's, yeah, exactly. 1941. That's when
Yeah,
those
what's-
came out.
What's that all about?
He's got 4,000 of them, and they're all on the floor.
Yep.
Four-door civilian vehicles. They put numbers on it, they put a star on it, or they painted it all green, and it became a staff car. They used those in World War I, World War II. Okay, guys, there's really a lot more I could tell you, but if you want to come see my museum every Sunday, 10 o'clock, and we do have tours during the weekdays, you'd have to call up because people make appointments when they have 20 people or more, and you guys could join. We'll just tell you what the dates are. Give me a call anytime, 719-683-2200. Okay, guys. Well, I worked up an appetite. I'm getting hungry. It's about 8:15, and I'm taking one of my hot rods to breakfast. I'm going to go to IHOP on Constitution Avenue.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's check it out.
Fill my fucking arteries with fucking plaster.
Okay, a few more days. We're going to do a video on Vietnam. This is actually a Vietnam.
Do you see the real
hospital
Vietnam
tent.
folding TV tray?
Yep. Yep.
All right, follow me. We're going through my oldies room.
It's just a fucking
This
lifetime
is
of
sick.
shit. Oh man, hoarding, dude.
I'm taking out my 1932 3-window, the fastest hot rod I have.
Why
It's
is the video
actually
still going?
600 horsepower. There it is, folks. Check it out. What a beautiful car. Now, let me tell you about it. It's got Mickey Thompson wheels on the back, and they're 16 inches wide. It's got an ultimate battery. It's got a fuel cell. Check out my license plate. It's pretty cool. It says 1 Hot 32. And look at the decal. That's the last thing the guy sees when I pass him. You lose. Okay, over here. It's got a nice interior, bucket seats.
Like a
got roll
suicide
bar.
doors. Nice.
This is actually like a race car, a drag car on the street. The fastest hot rod I have. Check out the
And it's a fucking
502
automatic?
cubic inches, 671 blower.
It's not a
Twin
stick.
barrel carburetors.
Yeah, it's not a stick.
It's got a narrowed rear end, 411 gears. I like those 411 gears. And really cool.
Oh, could you be more of a fucking boomer? Could you
Why do we have to
be
keep
more
watching this? Why
Yeah,
can't we
this
just
is one of my
Oh, Jesus.
rolling stock Mini 14s. And this is semi. It's got a 3-point selector switch. It's got semi, 3-shot burst, or fully automatic. That's a selector switch. Okay? So
I was
I
waiting for
got
this
two
to
30-round
ready to
magazines.
go.
Let's try one out. Make sure this works
This is-
before I go into town.
This is the ultimate micro penis compensation I've ever seen.
Yeah, come around this way.
He planned this whole fucking thing. He's already set it
And
up.
Oh, yeah,
don't
of
forget
course,
about my machine gun shoot, September 14th and 15th.
Yep, you're selling.
We rent all these kind of guns out if you like to shoot a full auto. Okay, we're going to cock it. And it shoots a 223 or a 5.56 bullet. 55 grain bullet, 2,800 feet per second. See that
Cameraman,
target over there?
stand back.
Woo! Man, that was better than any cup of coffee. Okay, now what we do here, take the magazine out. See, we switch it around. See that? Now I'm ready to go to town. You never know, at a red light, you might get carjacked. Okay, guys, I'm going to start this up.
Yeah.
Listen to this motor.
Someone comes to rob you, I can just see 20 fucking innocent people on the street get killed.
This is fucked up.
What do you think of that? That's a beauty, huh? That's horsepower. Holy moly. Okay, kids.
End my punishment, please.
So he's also one of those assholes who makes a ton of noise on the road that makes me want to fucking shoot him anytime I hear that.
So we go from a fucking another abysmal fucking exhibit, quote unquote, to this.
This guy's the gift that keeps on giving, man. Oh my god.
It just gets worse. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing is like with each video, it's like it doesn't matter when it was published, it just gets worse.
Well, I was expecting the World War I video. I was not expecting the small compensation at the end there.
I mean, what is going on here? James is speechless.
It's a guy who has a ridiculous amount of surplus and wants to show it off. And he got a few cool pieces, so he put them on display in such a way to be like, this is stuff, and then moves on.
I mean, that should be the name of his museum. This is stuff.
This is stuff.
That is
Yeah, no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a Battle of the Bulge display video.
I'm sure he has a video for. I'm sure he has display. Well, I want Smitty to be on when we do his Civil War room.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, he and Nate is to do that one. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, it just gets like worse.
Yeah, Ray, do you have any final thoughts?
Stupid shit. You got a lot of cool stuff. It just matters sorting it out.
Just a fucking boomer with way too much money and time.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got cool stuff. It just a matter how you display it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, the World War I shit, it's like, why not just try to do it somewhat right? That's any time period that he does. Like, it's all fucked up.
He hasn't done you're not going to find any of his videos of displays that are done right. You know, it's all, everything he has is going to be fucked. So I've never seen this guy do one thing that was like, you know, oh, that was actually pretty good. You know, it's all egregiously awful.
He charges $20 a person.
Fuck me, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's getting $400 a tour.
Yeah, okay, so I know why he's a fucking millionaire now, because he has a bunch of fucking, you know, redneck money that people come to see this shit. Larry the Cable Guy being one. You know, so robs the fucking dumb rednecks and you know, makes shit like this.
The fact that, again, he speaks from a position of authority, and people actually take him seriously. That's why I have beef with this guy.
Yep. Well, I mean, you got really mad in the Vietnam one, with his stuff about.
Oh yeah, right. So this guy apparently says that the U.S. should still have the draft going on. I kind of flipped the lid a little bit.
Yeah.
No, they should not.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, he served 2 years at Fort Bliss in a fucking Pogue unit.
You're not going to want the majority of people there anyways.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, he goes, oh, the military straightened them out. It's like, because he called the kids, what did he say? I said, the kids today, you know, it's just different. They're all shooting up schools and shit. You know, the military straightened you out. It's like, no, prime example is you were a piece of shit retard. You joined the military and you got out of the military and you're still a piece of shit retard.
Yeah.
It doesn't change you. It just gives you a fucking ego. And
retards are retards.
And now you just have a bunch of donated cool stuff.
Right, exactly. You know, and that's the thing is like, I mean, if us 4 clowns right now were to just go between, you know, James knowing how to set up a fucking exhibit, Mike and I and you knowing where to source the material for an exhibit, if we're going to do a certain thing, we could do a fucking 1,000 times better than this fuck.
Yep.
1,000 times.
Well, apparently they're saying in the comments, his house tour, he's got a bunch of sex dolls dressed up as groupies.
Nurses.
I heard that too. Yeah. Dressed up as what?
He said they got them dressed up as groupies.
Yeah.
Well, should you find that? Should we fucking watch that? Or
oh my god, you got me for 10 more minutes. So find it.
Mike, you want it? Mike, pull it up. Mike, pull it up.
DragonMan's sex dolls.
The sex dolls.
Dragon Man house tour.
They're so old, they're yellowed.
Oof.
I love what you said, and I put it in our little, you know, our super cut of the D-Day one. I love what you said when he showed it. He said, that is a rigid gut right there.
Oh, yeah. Like you could bounce a quarter off that fucking thing.
Yeah. All right. So there is a DragonMan's house. All right. Let me send you the link to this.
Christ, do we want to do that? Like, I mean, I'm actually like, I'm kind of like fucking scared because I don't want to get.
Okay. Have you seen the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure from 1986?
Yeah.
His house looks like that, kind of. It looks like Pee-wee's house. I just sent you the link.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay. Let me share this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I immediately thought. I was like, this is like the opening scene of Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, shit. Present, share screen. Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly, Ray. That's what I was like, oh, fuck. It's this.
Man here. I'm in my beautiful house. And Tell you the truth, I wake up around 5:30 every morning. I actually work a couple hours before I go to breakfast. Right now it's 8 o'clock, and it's time for me to go for breakfast. What I do out here when I wake up is I got to feed my animals, feed the dogs, feed the cats. I hop on my John Deere tractor. I have to groom the dirt bike track. I have to straighten out the paintball field. I got a lot of stuff to do. I get in my front end loader. I take pallets down there in the 6 shooting ranges, and then all my helpers set everything up. I actually do a lot of work before I even start working.
Yeah, I'm sure. It must be tough.
But you want to get ahead in this world, you got to work. You snooze, you lose. Okay, so let me show you my house a little bit. Let me show you around here. It's all decorated in the 50s and 60s style. This little wood-burning stove in 20 minutes in the middle of the winter heats up all 3 rooms that I have. These are all 100% restored gas pumps. I have a total of 83 of them now.
Who gives a
and
fuck?
I collect all these die-cast 1 1/8 cars. I have over 1,700 of them.
Scale?
Let's see. Yeah, check out my bathroom. I have 2 bathrooms over here. We threw away the bathtub and the shower because I don't need 2 bathtubs and shower. And we put shelves up, so I have more room for my little model cars. See all the signs we got here? This all brings back a lot of memories from when I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and Long Island, in Valley Stream. That's right.
Were you in Brooklyn or were you in
Valley Stream, Long Island?
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me show you my spare bedroom. Yeah. Sometimes I sleep in here, or if I have a guest, they sleep in here. Okay, over here, this is my spare room. It's got its own jukebox. See that beautiful bed? All the hubcaps from the 50s and 60s, and I have
really quick. If I rented an Airbnb, right? If I was traveling and just I didn't know about this guy or whatever, and this popped up, and somehow it got booked. My wife did it, or one of my friends did it, and we walked in, and this is who we meet, and this is what we see.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping on the goddamn ground, way away from there.
I wouldn't even be able to take it, dude. I mean, this is like eye rape. I mean, just
this is fucking bad.
Find me the sex dolls.
All the hubcaps from the 50s and 60s, and I have these Coca-Cola machines all restored. I have a total of 14 of these now. Yeah. I collect all these type of Coca-Cola bottles. The oldest one I have is 1923 Coke bottle. This is the way the diners would have been set up on Long Island, you know, back in the 50s and 60s. Really brings back a lot of memories when I grew up.
They're still the same.
Okay, let's take a walk out here.
A diner is a diner is a diner.
I collect these cigarette machines, Shamus machines, Coke machines. And let me put some music on for you.
Christ. It's gonna be
this is my nice little house. See, I'm not like other millionaires. I like this house better than a big 25-room house. I don't drive around in Cadillacs. I ride hot rods and motorcycles. I don't walk around with a suit and tie. I wear T-shirts and dungarees. Right on, man.
Who gives a fuck? No one's asking, dude.
Check out my bedroom. This is my...
One question I would ask him at this point really quick is, so when exactly did your uncle molest you?
Yeah. Obviously early in life.
Like, that's the question.
In the 50s.
Right. I'd be like, when exactly did it start with the bad touch?
Mm-hmm. Must have been the diner.
Must have been at a diner, a little touchy-feely.
Yep. And then
moving on up, and then going by hot rod.
1 milkshake, 2 straws.
Yes. Creepy, but yes.
Bedroom, pretty cool. I'm ready for anything. Let me show you around a little bit here.
You sleep with that fucking thing?
Most of the time I sleep right here. I got 12-gauge shotguns, M16s. This here's my Glock Model 21. Yeah, see, it's got a searchlight on it. You know, in case I have to get up and go to the bathroom. Okay, over here, I got my 45 bodyguard. This is a SIG. See? 1911. See, always have extra magazines. You got to have extra magazines. Once you fire all the bullets out of the first magazine, the gun is useless. You need backup.
Thanks
Okay, look at this. H&K, Maine, Germany, 45.
USB 45T.
See, all my magazines are loaded. See, everything's ready to go. They're all over the place. I got dresser drawers full of guns, ammunition. This is my M60 machine gun, nicknamed the Pig, Vietnam era. 308 bullets it fires, a rate of about 550 a minute. And this is my 249 that I sleep with every night. I have a few of these, and it's already cocked, ready to go, and even aimed at the doorway. If somebody busts in that door the middle of the night, they're in for a big surprise.
I'm not surprised.
Okay, let's say the gun jams, right? I need a backup. Okay, so under my pillow here, I always keep my MP5, 9mm. Yeah, look at that, double stack magazines. Yeah, 9mm. See that? That's a 115 grain bullet. It actually travels about 1,100 feet per second, and got a lot of stopping power. So I put it this way, so if I reach over with my arm, I got it right in my hand. All these people that want to protect their house and they have gun safes, you don't use a gun safe. It's useless. You don't lock your gun in a gun safe. By the time you put the light on, figure out the...
Sorry?
How many guys is he planning on having to come in here to break into his house?
All it takes is one well-placed shot to this boomer fucking geriatric tard cake, and he's done, and then you get all of his guns and ammo. Good luck carrying that shit, but...
Well, if I ever need to know where the museum of fucking die-cast car models are...
and also, with his little saw with the shorty para-barrel on there, what you're going to hear from him, because he doesn't know how to operate a machine gun, is ka-chunk, fuck. And that's easy. That's all you're going to hear is ka-chunk, fuck.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Oh my God. He's got a fucking... Oh God, I hate people.
So
like
he says it's all locked, ready to go, yet he's walked in front of it like multiple times.
Yep, exactly.
And the
combination, load your weapon, you're already dead. So keep that in mind. Everything's got to be loaded. Okay, guys, if this isn't enough, check out my closet. I actually have 4 closets. Here's one of them.
Which one did you come out of first?
Here you go, guys. Here's 10 more machine guns. Plenty of ammunition. I carry about 10,000 rounds in the house. If I run out of ammunition, then I'll call 911. But most of the time, I won't need them. Okay, guys. So anyway, these been sitting in the... I haven't shot these probably in about 5 to 6 months. So here, let me grab an M16 here. And hey, all the magazines are loaded. Put that in there.
Anything, Dragon Man.
Never leave the house without a second magazine. Okay, let's go outside. I want to show you my 29 Ford anyway, my sedan. I'm going to head out to Wendy's right after.
This is the most watched part.
Okay, guys, I got a target over there.
No sights, no nothing.
Yahoo! Man,
I can't fucking do this anymore tonight.
Yeah, y'all lost me.
Sorry, James, we didn't find the sex dolls.
Fuck. Well,
he's got multiple videos on his stupid fucking clown house.
Christ.
Holy fuck, man! Like,
how close is his closest neighbor or like residence or business to this guy's place where he's shooting off this mic?
I'm sure wisely a number of people have moved away and never go near this guy, because if you ever even say one thing to him, you're going to be there for 8 hours of him showing everything, you know.
Oh, you want some hot ride? You got the pig.
Yeah. Like, I don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah, you guys have fun with this shit. I'm out.
James has prematurely aged because of this.
I've prematurely lost 8 brain cells.
You can only afford to lose 3, so
I know. I'm fucked.
Not good.
We'll see you next Dragon Man bash.
I can't wait.
We'll find the sex dolls for you, buddy, so you can.
Please do. We need to do the sex dolls now.
I'll let you know when I find that.
Thank you.
You can snap one off if you want to do it on stream. It's up to you, but
fuck y'all.
All right, later, man.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, dude. So Ray, this fucking dude is like, oh, he's the worst.
I mean, I don't. At this point, it's almost like, is this the ultimate like Andy Kaufman like performance act? I mean, it's
It's like House on the Rock and the Volo Museum combined with
fucking thank you. That's
what'd you
exactly
say?
what I was going to say. The House on the Rock. Like nobody.
It's like the House on the Rock and the Volo Museum combined.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
With guns.
The original, like when you're at the House on the Rock and like view his actual like first house that he built into the rock,
Yeah.
the Infinity Room, which scares the shit out of me. I don't like that place. Like when you go out on that thing and there's like nothing supporting it, you just walk out. That I don't like that place. But like anyway, the original house, everything that's cool. And then you go into like the pole barns full of shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. So this, I mean, some of the shit's cool, like the big whale and shit like that. But again, it's like, he's not there narrating it either, which is good.
Discover it for yourself, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god! But like, this guy's just giving out. He's spewing shit he has no clue about.
I mean, it's in my opinion, like from a psychological perspective, it's fascinating. I mean, this guy, he clearly, I mean, these videos are clearly his idea. Like, I want to make videos and to show all of like this. I mean, it looks like like a boomer's candy store, you know, like how colorful candy stores are and shit like that. I mean, it's eye rape. And he's like, this is my house. Like, you live in that shithole? Like, I mean, I would probably die from anxiety if I had to stay in that house, you know, for more than a day. Yeah, this guy's got some serious weird shit going on upstairs.
You think?
Know? Yeah. So like it goes beyond just the bad, you know, the bad museums and stuff like that. Like it's really strange.
Weird. But it's like, yeah, the thing is like, dude, just get something right, please. Just something.
Yeah.
But it just never delivers.
I mean,
his daughter is like, okay. What is his daughter? I've seen her before, but like I can't remember exactly what she looks like. Can you pull up a picture?
She's a brunette. She's okay. Let's see here. I mean, there's videos on his thing with her.
Well, we should just probably do a yay or nay, like a binary system of would smash or not. Like,
I mean,
so
I'd probably
pull up a picture. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'd smash.
Yeah, it makes him happy. That's not a big deal.
Right.
So okay. Like it's like spreading misinformation and shit, just bullshit tropes, and he doesn't understand what he has. All right, so you found a pic?
She's in a number of his videos, so I just grabbed the first one I saw that she was in.
All right, let's. Oh yeah, she's not like hot, but she's like, she's one of those that's like she's angry. Here, let me Ray, let me get your analysis really quick. Come on. All right, Ray, what do you think? What's your analysis? Just first opinion.
This is
DragonMan's daughter.
His daughter?
Yeah.
And so she's going to inherit all this and all these stories that he made up?
Yeah.
Is she going to remember all these names?
So, but no, I've seen that before. People say that about his daughter's hot though. It's like, she's okay, I guess.
She's one of those that like has like a vibe is like just
yeah.
Like,
but he puts her as like the forefront in a lot of his
videos.
Oh
yeah, of course.
Because like he's like, my daughter's hot,
Here
which is
I am
creepy
at
as fuck.
DragonMan's. Normally I make this video in our farm store. However, today we are open and it has been very busy up front. So I am making this video in the military museum that we give tours in. You notice the background behind me, a little bit different. And we have one of the largest privately owned military museums in the country. So come on out if you have not seen it yet. We give tours Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 10 a.m. It's a 2-hour guided tour. It's open until November. And if you don't know about DragonMan's, we also have farm store and shooting ranges, plus dirt bike tracks, paintball parks, and we rebuild Harley motorcycles, plus rent out full auto firearms. We do events, and we also do concealed carry classes as well.
Concealed carry classes. My God.
Is this like family owned, or do they actually have employees doing mechanical work and stuff?
I have no fucking
I don't know. So,
she's a better speaker so far.
Yeah. She probably gives the tours. He probably doesn't. But So someone in the comments says the video that has the sex dolls is called the oldies but goodies collection. So I did find it. So if we want to put a bookmark on that for next time.
I mean, we could do it now if you want, but
yeah, but James and
Jimmy's gonna miss out. Yeah, we can't have poor Jimmy miss out on the sex dolls dressed up as nurses.
Yeah.
Why don't you come over here and put me in a dress and beat the shit out of me?
I'm scrolling through it right now. It's just a lot of that candy store, like cafe vibe. I mean, I'm guessing this man is sponsored by Coca-Cola because I just see it everywhere.
Just brings back memories from when I was a kid. 6 squirts of syrup plus carbonated water, a little scoop of vanilla at the end. That's what I'm talking about. 6 squirts.
This is one of these ones where it looks like an antique store where there's just like not an inch of
just fucking
space. Yeah, it's just shit just crammed together. He's got a Darth Vader. What? Oh man. Okay, we'll bookmark that.
What do you mean this is the okay daughter, not the hot one? He has 2 daughters?
Well, then post the link to the one that you're talking about in the chat.
In the chat, just post a fucking link to the video then. I'll show the hot daughter. I mean, this one's like, again, stay away. Like, red flags go up. That's just what I see. I'm like, you're probably a cool person.
And she is the daughter of DragonMan's, so yeah, that is a red flag.
The shit apple doesn't fall from the tree. Fall far from the tree, Randy. I botched that.
It's okay. I know what you meant.
Both his daughters.
Here's both his daughters. I don't.
Yeah, because that one I'm actually gonna pass on that one. Smash or pass? I would pass.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not immediately getting hard from seeing her. So no, wouldn't do it.
No diamond cutter for you. Yeah.
Nope.
Oh yeah, Ray. Before you got on, James was talking about the food administration in the First World War with the civilian rations and shit like that.
Yeah,
telling them to eat whale and shit like that because beef needs to be sent overseas. And I told him about the thing that you told me about the Alaskan salmon. Like they put so.
Oh yeah, 1 million cans.
Yeah, just an insane amount. They got sick of salmon. They're like, I can't fucking.
Yeah, goldfish.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better than nothing, I guess.
I mean, it's protein. If you really look at it, it's protein. It might not taste great.
Thanks, Alaska.
We want to contribute to the war effort. We're a terror. I mean, to be fair, salmon's good the first couple times you have it, and then it's like, all right, we'll just space this out. But when
it's canned salmon. You're not going to have. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot with it.
Well, like cream peas and salmon, it's like take your reconstitute that shit, get peas in your milk powder or your condensed milk or whatever the fuck you got, and put salmon on there and mix it up in your mess or a big
soups,
stews. It's like, oh fuck, that's so gross.
All right,
but again, it's food. Yeah, go ahead.
I found a picture of the 2 daughters.
All right, share it.
Yeah, 1 second. Coffee.
He has a blonde daughter. I think that's my weakness. My Achilles heel is blonde chicks.
Both these aren't blonde, but one looks like she's got some dyed hair that's like growing out, but you can tell she's brunette.
Well, these chicks are like in their teens. Chick on the right. Oh, their smiles are fucked up. Why don't you just share it? You can share shit on here.
I guess I could do that. Sorry, I was getting in a habit there. Let's see.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Michael's in Facebook jail again.
Yeah, so I got to send Mike stuff through Discord. So. Being a bad boy.
Just mean.
So I guess these are the dragon girls.
So the chick on the right is the one that was just in the video that we were talking about. She got the weird fucking. She's not blind. Yeah, they're both very like crazy eyes, average way, please.
Yeah.
Like,
just like, all right, Dad, we'll do this. Hold up these is this like the dead wife's memorial service or something?
Oh god,
like, what is going on here?
We're doing a thumbs up, so probably.
Yeah. I killed my wife.
Allegedly.
Maybe
Allegedly.
maybe it's a dating show. Or, how many roses are gonna be left by the end of this episode?
So Virginia reenactor said he has a blonde daughter. Where's the blonde? Point that out on the screen.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Maybe it's.
Oh, I've seen way worse looking women as well, but I've also seen way better looking women.
Right.
Who have more stable fathers and mothers.
Right.
In their lives. So.
The weird mole on the neck is also not appealing.
Holy moly! Why don't you take this quarter, go downtown, and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face?
Fucking love Uncle Buck.
Oh, fucking A. But
good old John Candy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're done fucking, twisting DragonMan's nuts this week. So
I just like having like different people on like Ray and everybody like, just fucking everybody notices something different. Like last week we did this for the first time and one of the guys that was in my unit and everything, Jake, he's a regular on here. We're doing a D-Day display thing, the video.
Yeah, that was fun.
He's like, nice vintage 1972 POW MIA flag in the D-Day display in the background.
Just sitting against the wall. Yeah. That was a good catch because I didn't see that. Yeah.
Well, it's so right. He's got D-Day going on, and he's got a fucking 7th ID mannequin, right? And I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, was the 7th ID not in the South Pacific?
Yeah.
That was funny as shit.
That was set up here at this museum here.
Yeah, at DragonMan's museum.
Yeah, I've seen a few videos, clips, but never actually sat and watched everything.
Yeah, same here. I watched the one thing that we're gonna do probably at a later time about his quote unquote Nazi room, and it's everything in there is fake. It's such a fucking. It's a real deal. No, it's a fucking fake, and here's how and why. Yeah. And it's so easy, and he's just so confident. He's got like Turkish 8mm bandoliers, the blue ones, like over sandbags. He's like, this is 8 million miles of ammunition. They would carry these on their belts, and I'm like, unless they're Turkish, no, they wouldn't.
He can easily
Turkish Nazis.
He can easily get away with this stuff because it's just a bunch of fucking dumbass rednecks who go to his museum, But once you get shit out on the internet, you're gonna get assholes like us who gotta expose you for it.
Oh, he never said it was all real, did he?
He says it's all real.
Does it. He says it's the real deal.
It's all legit. World War II.
Yep,
that's what he says.
This is the real deal. This is the real deal.
He says that multiple times.
Yep, and it's not.
He held up a stick of dynamite and said, "This is the original dynamite from 1942. This is the real deal." It's like, are you kidding me?
So Ray, if we're at an event and you're cooking for us, and they go, "Is that the original food that they would have eaten?" You go, "This is the real deal. It's 120 years or 104 years old. This is the real deal."
Yep.
It's the same shit.
From 1918.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He fucking claimed that he had a medic display, and he said that it was real morphine.
It's an iodine swab.
Yeah. He held up an iodine swab. He's like, "This is real morphine." It's like, you have drug paraphernalia in your museum.
You have a Schedule 3 fucking drug. Nice.
One of the guys that has our medical stuff, he actually had some medicines in his kit still when he bought it that had traces of ether or whatever it was in his box. Yeah. So he disposed of it or whatever.
You sound like you're underwater. What did you do?
Oh, sorry. I got my phone right in front of me. So
it was just working. What the fuck?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's all right. We can still understand you. But no, it's like yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of Czech medical kits a while back, and a couple of years ago, and I was selling them, and they had syrettes in them, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" So I went to my buddies who's a cop, come over with a drug test kit to see what it was. We mixed the fluid with the drug test kit, and it started foaming and blowing the bag up, and I'm like, "Take it outside! Take it outside!" He took it outside. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" It was atropine, the anti-nerve agent shit.
Okay.
And it was and I was like, holy fuck, it's all Deadline. It's so old. It's from the fucking 80s, right? And the 90s. I'm like, it's Deadline. He goes, oh shit. I was just like, what do I do with this? He goes, just throw it in the garbage. I'm like, all right, fine. And so I just been chucking them in the garbage, when I had them. But so some shit does come with that. And again, here's the thing: DEA is not going to give a shit if you fucking buy a fucking original airborne first aid kit that's got a morphine syringe in there. That's not a problem because A, it's going to be done. The half-life is way expired, and it's like whatever. But no, he held up an iodine swab and was like, "There's real morphine here, boys. This is the real deal right here." That they would take that, and he said they would inject it in your arm, and whatever side arm they put it on, your whole body would go numb on that side. And it's like, no,
that's not how fucking morphine.
Maybe he injected his neck with the morphine. His lip is talking then.
Right? Maybe fucking injected it into his asshole, you know. But like, Jesus, man, like this guy's just so fucking out. He's so out there, and I think he actually believes what he says. You know, that's the problem. Is like, dude, if you allowed me to give that tour, or Mike a tour, or Mike give that tour, or you, or Trey, or James, or whatever, we would be like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but all right, here's this. I do know what this is, and this is whatever, and like, bam. But it's just again, coming from a position of authority where you're just saying that that's fact. That's the thing I have an issue with.
Yeah,
and,
my house, my toys, my rules.
Yep.
Right. And that's the thing is like, you know, with you, the one thing I learned from you, Ray, is like when I was first starting out is you would always say, well, I'm not sure about that. I don't know about that. I can try to find out the answer. And I was like, okay, yeah.
You usually know someone who knows something about a certain
and if you didn't, you just go, I don't know. I couldn't find it. But you didn't give me a line of shit.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't regurgitate that to people who were trying to learn.
Well,
it's like,
Smitty said when we were doing that video, he said, this is that sort of thing, like what you're talking about, like really comes from like with old guys with vehicles. He says like they'll trick out their fucking, you know, vehicles and be like, look at this, how accurate it is. And then he's like, well, no, it's not. It's like, yeah, well, it's mine. I can do what I want with it. It's like, wow.
You're correct. But you're also, you should not be talking historically about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is like, you know, because you were saying, Ray, like, I think one of the funnest things about like going to Rockford with you, like with the tent and everything, the chow hall setup is like, I think we were one of the only units that did that. And the public, when they were, because I remember I don't remember what year it was, but I remember there was a time where like we were out in the woods in our little fighting positions and shit. We were rotating back for chow. Oh, that was the time you made the brats and sauerkraut. That was the time. And we rotated back because we were talking to the public and it was fucking packed that day. It was nice. And we go through the chow line and the people are standing around just kind of like silent. And they're just watching us go through. And I'm like, hey, Sergeant P, how you doing? You know, blah, blah, blah. And we go on and get our food, go to the condiment thing, get Oreos and whatnot. And then we go out and we start eating. And then the Germans come through. And they're like, wait a second. Why are they eating? And then you were explaining to them like, hey, well, when they took POW, blah, blah, blah. And they were all just like, is this really what it would have looked like? Like, is this real food? And we're like, yeah, it's real. We're just chowing down because it was so good. The brats and sauerkraut. They're like, so, and then they came up to you and then Dave and like, I think Seth was there too. And they were just like asking you guys so many questions. They were asking us like, so they feed you when you're here, like real food? I'm like, yeah, that's our mess sergeant. And
bring everything with me.
And then the crowd, remember how the crowd kind of like went around the chow? And we were like, I just want to eat food. And then people were like, this is so cool because everybody else had all their toys, their vehicles, their machine guns, you know, their whatever. But you were actually cooking hot chow and rotating us through with our meal tickets that you stamped and whatever. And then whatever. And we did that. And they were so like enthralled with that thing that nobody ever really portrays. And also you knew about it because you'd done fucking decades of research on it. And you're able to and then you pass it on to us. So if they were asking us about it, like, yeah, you know, our mess sergeant does this. He has his 2 assistants or 3 sometimes. And then we had to do KP. We rotate out, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, this is so cool. And they're taking pictures. And it's like, yeah, this is literally a chow tent. And they would have been 100 to 300 yards away from the front line. If they could be, they'd be as close as possible. Rotate out, get hot chow because rations really weren't a thing, which is a whole nother discussion. And then, you know, going back and then either with your food or you eat there if you got some time and then you go back. And then, yeah, it was just the crowd that gathered was so fucking immense. And I was just like, and then after we were done eating and all the Germans were eating and everything, Dakota looked at me and he's like, is this normal? I'm like, no, but I love it. Because like they actually care about something that's not combat arms, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do those guys in combat arms get food?
They get their supply. Yeah.
No, and that was so fucking cool doing that. But it's also like, because I think I've always at events, I love the fact that people ask questions that I don't know, and I'm able to go, I'm not sure about that, and I'm not just gonna feed them a line of shit. I just go, I'm not sure about that.
Yep.
And then you go home and you research, and then you're like, oh shit, now I know. Cool, I learned something.
Right, you go to 2 or 3 different little encampments, and you get 3 different answers.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it just living history was really fun. Reenacting, whatever. Shooting blanks, okay, whatever. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I loved that fucking setup at the chow tent, and like having the grunts come off the line, rotate through filthy fucking dirty, giving them good portions, fair portions, and then all the bottles too with like the ketchup and the hot sauce and the salt and pepper.
Labels, little box items, yeah.
Yeah, everything was legit because like the people were like, can we touch that? I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And they're like picking it up and they're like, it's Tabasco. They had Tabasco. I'm like, look at the date, 1860, whatever the fuck. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, they've been around for a while and they had Tabasco in the First World War. They had ketchup. They had
Civil War
mustard.
actually too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 18. Let me see. I think it's 1859.
A1 steak sauce in the middle of the summer.
God, I fucking love A1. So 1868. Okay. So it was post Civil War, but yeah. So 1868.
There might have been guys making homemade pepper sauce or something like that, but nothing commercial, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they were one of the first to go actually like and sell it because they have a specific kind of pepper that only grows in Louisiana with a certain soil content and the moisture content. And then they exported that. And it's I think it's the most widely used and exported hot sauce ever. Because it's fucking everywhere. And but yeah, anyway, so it's cool to have that like on display and everything was correct. And like again, the punch cards were great too. Because somebody asked me, like, when I gave you my punch card, they're like, what is that? And I'm like, it's a punch card to make sure I don't go through twice. I'll go through twice though.
Yeah.
You know, I was just making a joke. And I'm like, I'm gonna still go through twice. But yeah, and then they were asking why are you eating brats and sauerkraut? And then I told them the story that you got that from.
Yep.
And then they were like, really, the Americans stole things like that? I'm like, it's not stealing. You acquired it. You said, hey, I stumbled across this at gunpoint, held some people, captured them, and then I guess we let this go to waste, or do we cook it up and have a fucking feast? So no, it was that was always a really great part of the events, like, and just talking with people in general, you know, like we were talking about right before you got on, as I was talking to James, is like the whole point of like a museum or like living history and shit like that is to like combine and like show people right in front of you the tangible piece, the artifact, you know, what it looked like, what it is, the item itself, and then bridging that gap between that and the story. And without that bridge, there's like, again, this guy, he just got a bunch of shit laying around in a bunch of fucking pole sheds. Okay.
So what?
Yeah, there's no text, there's no context to it. It's like, okay.
So the reenactment, you could actually touch the things and feel the history and, you know, and not look at things under garbage bags.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, like that's why living history is awesome, is because, yeah, like when we were doing that, Rockford was cool because there were so many fucking people there. There was also a lot of people up at Fort Snelling when they had the World War I days and they didn't politicize it.
So I'm gonna take off.
Yep.
All right, later, guys.
Right, later, man. But no, it was cool because yeah, it's like people go, hey, what is that? Oh, it's a canteen. You pull it out of the pouch and you hand it to them. They're like, is there water in here? Yeah. And I open it up and just, yeah, that's what they drank out of. And there's a cup here, and, and like when they can hold it, it makes more sense. You know,
yeah,
I've noticed. Yep. And you go, oh, well, this, you know, and then whenever they feel like World War I's not as much because the helmet's really light, but like World War II on with the M1 and then, you know, the PASG and all that shit. If people like hold the helmet, they're like, oh my God, this is really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yep. And because I did a thing a couple months back, my local high school. I still talk to one of my teachers that I had, and he teaches like AP history and shit like that. And they're going on to Vietnam, and I was like, hey, I got a Vietnam kit together finally. That's good. So I went in there, and the kids were like asking good questions, very good questions. And the one I was like, yeah, here's the helmet. And this chick's like, okay. And she's like, "Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a bike helmet.
Yeah.
It's an actual like. There's this thing. This guy."
Nice.
But no, it was cool. And like they were asking about a lot of political stuff too, which was really interesting because I was trying to ride the line. I'm like,
A lot of angles.
and I'm like, this is my opinion. It's not a fact. And then I kind of, because they were like, so why did, Ho Chi Minh not like the US? And I was like, well, we have to go back to here, right after World War I, to answer that question.
Yep.
Like, oh, how do I do this in like a minute?
Oh, yeah, even in modern times, go back to World War I.
Most modern problems are from that war. The war to end all wars. No, it's the war to start all wars. But that's why, I was really fortunate to have you when I got into the hobby and like World War I in general, of like being able to like you put me in contact with people and different avenues of like research of like how to actually get it right. And when you research World War I, you understand a lot more about the modern world.
Mm-hmm.
The whole macro level, the politics, the web that was weaved beforehand, during, and then after. And it really explained like the Middle East shit. That's all from World War I. So, but anywho, DragonMan is he's got an extensive library of videos, and I guess there's no end in sight for us reviewing and giving him helpful critiques. So
yeah, let me know when you're doing that room, and I wouldn't mind seeing that one again.
The sex dolls?
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, but so all right. Well,
but I gotta head out too.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out as well. So all right, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next stream.